Here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, hey. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right after ATB. Shout out to my boy DZ. Where's my ATB crew at? Let me know in the chat, guys. And while you guys are doing that, we got a great show for you guys tonight. We have a special guest, and I think you guys know who he is. He's been on the show quite a few times. I'm super excited to see what he is thinking about the markets, as we have gotten some pretty crazy volatility, which is funny, because as we were live streaming the OMC meeting yesterday, we were thinking to ourselves, like, the volatility was not really there, right? And then as soon as I entered the stream, boom, we got the massive dump, and now we're getting another massive pump. So we're going to be talking to Evan Aldo. I don't think I even said that. It is Evan Aldo, guys. You know, obviously, if you're in the Discord. But we're going to be talking to Evan. We're going to ask him his outlook on the market, because I do believe he is calling for some lower prices, which, to be 100% honest with you guys, I'm low-key crossing my fingers for that. But we're going to be asking Evan what his thoughts are on the market. Does he think this bounce is going to continue? Are we going to come lower? Are we going to get lower lows on Bitcoin? I'm super excited to hear what he has to say, guys. But yeah, please, shout out to Caesar, said, please tell him to TA. Well, we're going to ask him if he will TA for us. I think he will. I think he will technically analyze for us. But guys, thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys from the bottom of my heart. Go ahead and smash that like button. Every 100 likes we get, you guys get to spin on the wheel of pain and pleasure, where you guys will have multiple chances to win some free giveaways that we will be giving away tomorrow on the live stream. We got some really big giveaways to do. I think we're giving away a free month of the premium Discord. So it's going to be a good time. If you guys smash those likes, we will spin that wheel and give away even more crypto on top of the free month of the premium Discord. But guys, before we go ahead and bring Evan on, I just want to jump in and say what's up to the Candle Mafia. Shout out to Crypto Billy, Rob the Crypto Snob, Tony D. I don't know if we have our other mods in here. Let's see. You guys know who they are. Tyler Durden, Chemistry Bro, Crypto Billy, Crypto Anon. You guys know them all. Captain Kirk, Deep Eddie Crypto. Show them some love in chat, guys. They help me out so much with the channel. But other than the mods, guys, we got Metavice. What is going on, Metavice? Thank you for being here. Donato Cabrera, what is going on, man? Thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate you. We got RS Crypto saying, bring that energy, big boy, LFG. Let's go. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to RS Crypto. We got Wick 589 Classic coming in. What is going on, Wick? Thank you for being here. As always, Kenton Smith, what is going on? One of our famous membership gifters. Shout out to Kenton Smith. Let's see. Shout out to Patrick Leishman. What is going on? Shout out to you, Frankie. Shout out to Patrick Leishman. Right back at you, bro. Let's see. Oh, we got. Hey, let's go. Shout out. Hey, guys. Shout out to my dad in the chat. And he's saying go Bitcoin because he bought the dip. And he's sitting pretty on profit right now, so shout out to my dad, guys. He's the real godfather. The godfather of the Candle Mafia is in chat, guys. Show him some love in the chat. And with further ado, hey, Dad, look at me. I'm on TV. And congrats on making some money today. Let's go. But, guys, without further ado, let me go ahead and pop on these headphones. Takes a second to turn them on. Let me go ahead and pop on these headphones. And let's go ahead. Give me 1 second here, guys. Bear with me. I'm having Stream Deck issues. Hopefully this opens up. Bear with me, guys. Let's go. Hi, Dad. Hey, everybody shouting at my dad in chat. Let's go. All right. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Come on. Boom. Okay. So, without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and bring on our special guest, Evan Aldo. Evan, what is going on, bro? Good to see you, man.
Great to be on, man. I'm doing well. I took a long this morning, so I'm in the happy camp right now. Maybe a little sad if I tried to short the exact bottom, but in the happy camp. Yeah, great to be on. Great to talk to you again, man. It's been awesome. I saw you at the Bitcoin conference. Always great to see you. Always great to put your ideas and mine together, and I think your audience is going to really like what we have to say today.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, the Candle Mafia loves when you come on, and that's what I love about having people on the show, man, because one of the biggest things for me is, I never want to get stuck in an echo chamber, right? I think a lot of people in crypto do get stuck in an echo chamber. Most people get stuck in the retail, nothing but up echo chamber. But I love having other people on, even if they have opposing views. I don't know if you have an opposing view yet, but I kind of hope you do, because that's really what I like to do. I like to focus on the people that are looking at something different than me, because all I could think is like, hey, is there something I'm missing, right? And when we have people like you, people that we really respect your view on the market. So, but yeah, so if you just want to start off, I think most people know who you are at this point. You've been on the show a bunch of times. But if you just want to kind of give us a basic breakdown of kind of what you're looking at on the markets, do you think we're going higher? Do you think we're going to come down lower? Let the people know.
Yeah, so it's an exciting market. Let me just get right into it. I'll share my screen here.
Let's do it.
Well, people want to know what's going to happen right now, so I'll almost give you a little bit of what could potentially be somewhat of a trade setup. So we're testing this local volume area low right here at about 25.66 here. And you're getting, if you guys, probably a lot of you are familiar with a bearish div on Market Cipher B with momentum waves coming down this 16-minute. The thing I'm a little bit hesitant on this right now is just because money flow is not curving down yet on the 16-minute. Makes me think maybe you could pump up a little bit more. If you are to pump through kind of this area, you might be able to get up to 26K here, but you got to realize, this was a big move up. In terms of a scalp trader, a more short-term trader, this is probably going to be potentially a good short entry. You could even maybe take it here. I like this 10-minute because you see the bearish div, you see the money flow coming out. I got in a lot around just before this crossed over into the green here, took the long, took some profits somewhere up here, then took more profits at this area. So I'm looking for a potential kind of scalp short. So this is something that I may get into right now. This is more of a short-term, trading perspective. And you could also see if we go to some really low time frames here, money flow coming down on the 3-minute right here. So this looks like a textbook kind of market cipher basic strategy, kind of short entry. You did already come down a little bit, but it does seem likely to come down a little bit more here. I also want to show you a bit more macro analysis. Everybody wants to know, is Bitcoin going to make a lower low? Are we bottomed out? The first thing I want to talk about in that respect is going to be, let's just look at what happened before here. So let's look at just in terms of price. This was our bear market in 2015. You had your first low, your bottom in January, and then your kind of double bottom later that year in August. On some exchanges, it didn't really come down this low. On the Bitstamp one, it was A lot of exchanges like Coinbase, I think it only came down to like 180. I even remember it back then. I remember it coming down to like 170, 180. I don't remember really messing around with 150. Could be wrong though. Then here, kind of a similar thing, obviously you did have the pandemic that brought this one down to this area. Some would argue, maybe you wouldn't have went that low without the pandemic. It's hard to say. I mean, the pandemic caused us to print a lot of money to bring us out of that. But I do think this is a good, precedent to kind of look at on what could happen here. And this line, if you're wondering, is their 400 weekly moving average. And the reason why I think that line is pretty important is because Bitcoin historically has always bottomed at a major moving average. Back here, it was your 200. Here it was your 200. Right here, it ended up being your 300. What's that next pattern? Maybe your 400. And your 400, my guess is it would be around 17, 16, maybe somewhat of a double bottom, higher high into September, October. And as you can see here, I want you to look at these gapped RSIs back here in this mini bull run in 2019. Look at when they kind of started curving downward, what happened. You came down quite a bit here from that area. I'm not going to count the pandemic, but if you do it like this, see how they started to come down, you got the red dot, that'd bring you right to around this area, right to around a double bottom, somewhere around that nature. And my guess is that you didn't really bottom out here for this bottom until they kind of came together. Usually what happens when you have these gapped RSIs is they come down and then they come together in a few months. A lot of things are really pointing to September, October for me to really see, that next bottom, wherever that may be. Maybe it's just at 18K. We do over 300 weekly moving average at 20K. But I think until then, we're going to see things kind of keep continuing as they are. I think Bitcoin dominance is going to, look at this weekly. This looks great. Pump up to a technical target out of this bull pennant right here. And I think alts are just like Cardano, Bitcoin. Look at this, just going to get demolished against Bitcoin and potentially come down even more than they are, maybe even down to kind of these 2020, September 2019 levels. 2019, last thing I want to say here, 2019 is a very similar year to kind of how 2023 was. You bottomed out against Bitcoin for a lot of the alts around September. I think it may be the same thing, September, October for this year. History repeats in some ways. So, yeah.
I like it. Now, I have a question, right? Because I'm a big Market Cipher B guy. I use Market Cipher B every single day. It's one of the indicators that just lives on my chart. But one thing I don't look at, and I do get some questions about it, but I don't really like answering questions unless I feel like I am completely qualified to answer the question. But one thing I don't really look at on Market Cipher B is the RSI, and I know there's 2 RSIs on there. Would you give the CandleMafia a little bit of insight into how that works?
Yeah, so the RSIs, there's the stochastic RSI and then the regular one, and they're pretty useful. So they're both ways. So if you see them gaps like this and coming down as they are right here, that's going to be more bearish with, I believe, my brain fog a little bit. I believe the top one is the stochastic RSI, and when they're coming down, usually that brings you down until they kind of come together. Now, inversely, if we look at the 2-day here, you kind of have the opposite of that. Now, it's not always going to work out this way, but here's the opposite trajectory. You could see these guys are gapped apart. This could potentially, this is the main bullish case right now. If this comes up, you could see bullish into kind of July here, just, potentially maybe that rate hike pause or whatever, bringing you back up to, oh man, you could see something here. Maybe even back up to 27, 28K in the next month or something, but depending. I'm not saying that's going to happen. You got the EMAs right here, but that's the main thing with RSIs. And obviously, anything's going to be stronger on the higher the time frame you look at. If you look at like RSIs here on so I'll give you an example where it didn't really work out. And if you're looking at it on the 15, sure, sometimes it'll work, but look at these gapped RSIs here on the 15. Sure, it worked a little bit. You came down and then you just pumped like crazy. So it's not going to be as strong in the lower time frame. Even here, you came down and you pumped. It did bring you down and eventually, but it's not as strong on the lower time frames, but it still could be useful. And obviously, the traditional RSIs could be used kind of for like an overbought, oversold here. Here, obviously, kind of oversold. You came up a little bit. And then as you get up here, a bit overbought. Traditional things like there. Obviously not going to be right all the time. But I really like to look, especially in conjunction with the momentum waves and the money flow on Market Cipher B and the VWAP as well. I really like to look at the split RSIs, especially on bigger time frames like that weekly I was showing you.
Yeah, no, I gotta start bringing the RSIs back up. It's actually funny. I did not realize our second question was from Darren Does Things, and he literally said, can you explain how you use the double RSIs on Market Cypher B? I didn't even see that. That was more for me. So there you go, Darren. We answered your question unknowingly. But I want to talk a little bit about the kind of the bull case for Bitcoin in the near term, right? I know there's a lot of people looking at, potential. Obviously, we got that kind of bull rally or bear market rally in 2019. And I think a lot of people are looking for something like that to happen. Now, I think the bear rally in 2019 was about 350%. From 15.5, I think we came up to 31. That was about 100%. And we've been looking at some higher targets and potentially getting a breakout to some more higher targets, closer to about 33K. But one of our questions here is from Mavros17, and he says, do you see a climb all the way back up to 30,000, or do you think that's just kind of bullish hopium? And if you don't want to give a yes or no answer, maybe like a percentage answer.
Yeah, it's tough to obviously say that. I mean, my view is that probably not. Like, I would only probably give that like a 20-30% chance of like coming back to kind of 30K anytime soon. I most likely think you would see a run up back to 30K and potentially even 40K towards the end of the year. I think you could see a Santa rally into next year, into early next year on the halvening. And let me just show you here on kind of my estimate. I think I drew it out a little bit on the, might have drew it out kind of on the, yeah, right here on this kind of time frame. What I'm thinking, say you get that drop down, you retest this. Here's where your Santa rally could potentially start. November, December. This is where around March, where the next halvening is. I think you could get to maybe 35, maybe even 40K, maybe a stretch into that area. I mean, who knows, obviously. But then after that, typically what we see, here's the last shakeout, potentially a pretty big correction. I think I drew, 30 to 40% down. Scare out everybody. Maybe want your last time to kind of get in at 20K before you could potentially see 100K or those, new all-time highs, those kind of areas. Now, to look at what you were kind of asking about in terms of like coming up, making new highs based on this kind of April high, I don't think it's too likely. Just for the first reason I'll say just on fundamentals is, remember how Doge kind of peaked out back here in May, and then look what happened. Remember how Shiba peaked out here in November, and look what happened there. And then Pepe peaked out, right around this kind of area. I think it was last month. And then we're kind of starting that same, drop down. And even if you go back to 2019, if you remember 2019, there were meme coins. I mean, meme coins are not new. We had so many meme coins. If anybody's ever heard of Potcoin, Barbecue Token, we had a lot of meme coins throughout the years. There were meme coins that peaked out around here. And then you saw, an extended kind of drop down. The other thing, too, that's wild is I want to show you guys, too, like, do not underestimate the volatility here. Look at this. I mean, we dropped down 30%. Then you just have a 40% jump. And then you have another 35% drop. So do not underestimate the wildness, the roller coaster that we may see here. I mean, you could easily see, imagine pump up like 25% back to like 30 or something. Then you bounce down again. I mean, it wouldn't surprise. What I could say with some type of certainty, especially in a year like this, is you're going to have some wild jumps up and down, which is going to be a lot of fun. But in terms of what I'm seeing, no, I just don't see the likelihood too much there. I mean, you got the daily yellow X starting to come on. We could see, 4 or 5 yellow X's to the downside before you see a potential bottom at 20K or maybe even lower into these areas. Everything kind of points September, October to me with this coming out as well. If you look at also, I just don't think we're really in the environment too, because if you look at Ethereum, Bitcoin, we're getting, the blood diamond on the weekly here. I mean, the last one happened there in January, and you did pump up for Bitcoin, but I don't think it's going to be an area where Bitcoin outperforms Ethereum, where the whole market goes up. I think it's going to be an area where Bitcoin outperforms Ethereum, where the market kind of goes down. That brings the likelihood down. And even if you look at Bitcoin dominance, just looking at more things for history here, I did map this one out. See the money flow right here in Bitcoin dominance. This was in July of 2019. This is where we started to crash down, correct, from that 2019 rally. And Bitcoin dominance went up another 24%. That was while the whole market was kind of coming down. So if you see a repeat of that, potentially from this point, that would be 25, would be around almost 60% essentially. So you're looking at 60%. A lot of people are talking about 60%. I think the technical target we have out of this channel right now is going to be at 55. That's where I'm looking to potentially get into altcoins, September, October. So I think most likely that 31K was the top, but obviously, you and me both know the charts are not always right. History is not. Was it past past results are not indicative of future results?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. Actually, kind of speaking on that, I have a really hard time explaining this to people sometimes. And, just thinking about, I was actually, shout out to my dad. I was talking to my dad about this. It's like the news is what, like, I always say I've been in so many trades where, I'm in a short, right? But I shorted a technical signal just looking at the charts. And it starts to play out, and then someone runs up to me and goes, "Oh my God, Bitcoin just dumped!" And I'm like, "Oh, cool, I'm in a short." And I go and look at it, it's dumping, and they're like, "Yeah, it's an Elon tweet, or it's whatever. Gary's back at it, right?" And it's like, what do you make? Like, is it magic? Like, what is kind of your outlook on that? Like, because people say, "Show me the charts, I'll tell you the news." Like, how would you explain to somebody like why looking at the charts works, like to a beginner?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously it doesn't work all the time. We'd all be billionaires pretty quickly if that was the case. But the majority of time, I mean, things like Elon tweeting, unpredictable events could make the charts not work. However, having said that, a lot of times maybe Elon would tweet, say you took a scalp short off of a big resistance point and you're already kind of in profit. Maybe you locked in that profit, and then Elon tweets something that crashes Bitcoin. That makes your trade worse. Or maybe Elon tweets something that pumps Bitcoin, you just get stopped out in profit. It's a lot of things like that. In terms of like, sometimes you do those unpredictable events, like they'll just be a catalyst to make it more extreme than it kind of would have been, kind of both ways. Just in terms of like the way people read the market. We're at the point now where I don't think Elon's been trying to talk about Dogecoin. It's not really working. That thing just keeps bleeding down further. I think everybody on the Robinhood accounts are like, oh man, we got to buy it's summer. We got to buy some beers to sell the Dogecoin we bought at the exact high to get some beers and go to the concert or whatever, all those college kids that probably bought Dogecoin. But, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what the slow bleed there. So it's just not, it's just not that environment kind of anymore. So obviously it can be unpredictable. You're not going to win every trade, but there are strategies that typically do work well over 50% of the time. What you have to be careful about, the conditions change. Like there's certain times where, as you knew, like before the Fed meeting, we were in a kind of a consolidation phase. There's certain times where it's like watching paint dry and you can't really do much except just do nice little scalp trades. So there's certain markets where it's just more of a scalp traders market. Other markets, it's more of a day traders. It depends. The environment changes and you got to know your environment. And that's something that, could take some time to learn. So it's ultimately, it's not get rich, overnight. A good goal for a leverage trader even not a leverage trader, but for a trader in general, 10% a month is pretty good. It's not like, I know somebody was telling me they turned like over a 6 or 8 month period, I believe 16K into like 54K. And like, I was like talking to them about, oh, well, we were just, what's your secret? What'd you do? It's like, man, it was just like really good risk management. And it was just a lot of work, just waiting for those patience and times to get in. But if you're disciplined enough, it definitely is possible. But the problem is everybody gets there. Most people, 98% of people get too nervous, don't have the discipline, and then they end up paying for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I always say. Like, I always tell people it's, like even in my Discord, I always tell people, like, listen, I could be right 100% of the time, which I'm not, but even if I was guaranteed to be right 100% of the time and it was guaranteed, most people would still lose the trades because it's not knowing whether the price is going up or down. It's managing the trade, managing the emotions, and having the discipline to follow your plan, like you just said. And I do just want to touch on knowing your environment. I think that's really important too, because I actually fell into this a little bit, or didn't fall into it, but usually like at the beginning of the bear market, right? I saw that blood diamond on the weekly, and I was like, this is it. It's likely starting right now. I'm short until it's very obvious that we've come down a huge percentage, right? And we were crushing in that bear market, just shorting the lower highs, coming all the way down. And then we started to hit the bottom. And it's like, oh, okay, so just shorting like you have to adjust yourself. What was crushing in that bear market on those capitulations to the downside.
Oh, man, bro, the same thing happened to me. The same
Really?
exact, yeah, all the way down into June. Then once you hit that bottom at 17K, I was just getting crushed. It was hilarious.
Yeah, well, it's like, you don't want to be the last bear standing, but you also don't want to miss the
Yeah.
opportunities if the trend continues. So yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people that are viewing this or watching this right now go through that as well, and that's totally normal, right? Like there's no way to 100% know if 15.5 was going to be a big pivot point to come back up, and if you're used to just shorting the lower highs and looking for the shorts, I'll be honest, I say this, I've said this so many times on my stream. There were times, dude, where I was literally inverting my chart because my eyes were just so used to seeing the short setups that I literally inverted the chart to like help me find the bullish setups.
Oh, that's awesome, bro.
It actually worked pretty well. I'm not gonna lie.
Sure,
Just look
yeah.
for inverted bear divs.
That is hilarious. That's awesome. I got to try that. I got to figure out the hotkey on Mac to do that.
Yeah, I think it's Alt-I on PC, and you could even invert Market Cipher B, which is amazing.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious. I feel like I would just get confused from that kind of like just because there's people who don't like to short Bitcoin, and that's what they tell them to do. Just put it upside down, so you're really going along when you think.
Honestly, it's a great plan because again, I think it was a lot of the emotion, right? Like I was just feeling bearish. I'm like, you know what? I think we might be reversing here. Let me just flip it around and look for the fake shorts. But I want to move on to another question here. Now, this one's from Benjamin Calls. Shout out to Benjamin. He's actually been doing pretty well trading, so congrats to you, man. So this is a rough one. I'm not going to lie. I hate when people ask me this, but what price comes first if you had to take a random guess, 100K or 10K?
I don't really think we're going to go in all likelihood down to 10K. So I would probably definitely lean on the 100K. I think if we did go to 10K, that would be like really bad recession, really bad deflationary time towards the end of the year. Maybe the Fed raises 2 more times. Things get really bad. S&P 500 makes a lower low. Things would have to get really bad for that. You would go below your 500 weekly moving average at that point if Bitcoin was to retest 10K. So I don't think it's very likely. Obviously, anything could happen. If you asked me, 16K versus 100K, that would be a lot harder. I might lean with the 16K a little bit. But yeah, for 10K, I don't think it's very likely. I would only give that the odds like 10 or 15% for that.
Yeah, I would probably lean very similar to that. I don't really see 10K coming, but, kind of like we were comparing 2019 to the current price action, we double bottomed basically, right, at the bottom of the last bear market. Obviously, we didn't come all the way down to the lows, but it was a clear second chance for people to get in before we ripped.
Right.
And that's I'm open to that idea. I definitely lean more on the side of the bottom being in at 15.5. Obviously, not completely naive to the fact, I'm not out here screaming we can't go to lower lows. But I definitely think it's, in my opinion, more likely that it's in. But I do just want to move on to this question really quick. This is from Wick, and this is an interesting. Actually, let's go to this one first because we're kind of on the topic. So, do you fall into the category of the bottom being in? I know you touched on it a little bit earlier.
I think it's so tough to say, man, because the elephant in the room right now is like the recession that we could go into, kind of. And if you see a major kind of panic in S&P 500 and all that, I do think it is possible if we do make a lower low. I think most likely the area that we're going to be looking at is around 13K, where your 500 weekly moving average will be. If history repeats here, it probably is not going to make a lower low. The other thing too that I've been kind of mapping out a little bit on the charts, because I compare this to, I look at weird time frames and kind of compare this to the NASDAQ after the dot-com bubble. And what happened with the NASDAQ after the dot-com bubble is the NASDAQ bottomed after the dot-com bubble right when the 18-day went into the red, which was actually a really good place to like get in right around like mid to late 2020, just before the big run up there. So this coming into the red, let's kind of map this out. If this were to happen and come into the red, that would be a bottom in October. I mean, I don't think Bitcoin could come down much more in that amount of time, much more than 30 to kind of, if it comes down 40, maybe a little bit of a lower low, but I don't think you're going to crash 50% in that amount of time. Yeah. I think it's possible to crash 50% from the 31K, which would bring us right around, I think that would kind of technically be a lower low. I'm curious about that, because a 50% correct, that's like a big psychological area when it does. that would be an exact double bottom, which would be very, very interesting. And that's usually, see, if you compare Pepe to kind of Doge right here, that was a 50%er. If you do the kind of the Shiba high right here to this area, that was a 52%er. I wouldn't count the thing that happened after that, but that's the most likely scenario I'm seeing, coming down to potentially double bottom. I don't think you're going to kind of make a lower low. I think if you do make a lower low, like say you do something like this, and then we go into kind of a recession, and then it's a complete hopeless phase, and then you're gradually bleeding down to 13, 12K and like, maybe early to mid 2024. That's like the absolute kind of lowest I could see you going if you did. And then you'd kind of start your next bull run up like mid 2024. And that would be the case where you'd probably only hit like 40K, 50K in the next bull run, which is possible. I mean, you got to look here. We did come below the all-time high in the last bull market for the first time ever. That's never happened before. If you do repeat that, maybe Bitcoin only gets up to 40, 50, or 60K in the next bull run. So we do have to be prepared for that. And I think the thing that would cause that is ultimately the recession, kind of a recession.
Yeah, like it would have to be a pretty bad environment. I would agree with that. Between 12 and 14K is kind of where we're looking at. Like I always tell people, listen, I think the bottom's in. If it's not, and we start coming down and things look bad, I'll be the first person to tell you that I think they're coming in. But it's really hard. What we do, like going up here on YouTube in front of a bunch of people and talk about the price. Everyone wants to know up, down, exact prices, and it's like, it's just not really how it works. Like I could give you my opinion. I think the bottom's in, but the key, in my opinion, is understanding that anything can happen. And I think personally, I've gotten that way by being humbled countless times by the market, thinking, oh, we're not going lower than this. There's no way. And I'm sticking to my guns. And then the market just spits in your face. And then you quickly realize that. I think that's why I started to really enjoy short-term trading, because the flip-flopping is a necessity, where I used to, kind of just pick a side, be like, I'm a bull, that's it, only up. And then you quickly learn that that's not a good strategy.
Yeah. The thing that I like to show people too, and this is kind of like my strategy for kind of like DCAing in, I'll show you real quick kind of, because obviously the question, you shouldn't be asking the question kind of, is the bottom in or not? Like that's not really relevant to a long-term like investing perspective. Right. What you should be asking is like, when should I be DCAing in? Let's get a strategy for DCAing in. And here's my strategy right here. Look at this red on the 2-week for Bitcoin here. This would have been an excellent place to DCA in. And this would have been like, obviously you wouldn't have been buying at the exact bottom here, but in an accumulation year like 2019, this would have worked very well from November 2019 all the way to August of 2020 for a nice run up there. And let's just see, we're already in the red here. We crossed over about around this area. This would bring you DCAing in until January. So if you were, let's say you started, I started around December. Probably should wish I bought more back when we were under 20K, but then started up again towards this area. I've been DCAing in every Monday, because Monday is statistically, I believe, the lowest day for Bitcoin. It's not that big a deal if you pick a different day, but I try to DCA in once a week. And then coming down this area, I'm planning on going into, December, January, or until this crosses back into the green in preparation for the next bull run. And I think if we do something like this, my average buy-in should be around, maybe 20K, maybe a little bit below that. And let's say I get an average buy-in at 20K, and let's say we go into the 100K a lot of people want. That's a nice return. That's a pretty good return. Maybe we'll even go higher. I mean, maybe we'll go to 150K or something. I mean, 170K, probably the higher echelon of anything I could see happening is maybe 180, kind of these high places. That'd be like kind of half the return you would have got from the bottom here potentially. I mean, this was a 20. Yeah, that's on the higher echelon. I really don't think you're going to go to 180, but I think 120, 100, 120 is kind of a good goal. So that area right there. Also for ETH, what I'm looking at, because ETH keeps bleeding against Bitcoin, what I'm looking to start DCAing in is on the 12-day. We're getting close. It may happen, within a couple months here, or within the next few weeks even, if we do dump down a lot. Look at this red area. This would have been a beautiful place to DCA in right here. Say we get it, a couple more bars. This would be from June all the way until April, which is a pretty, July all the way to April, which is a good DCA period for about maybe 8 or 10 months right there. If you did it here, let's see what you would have gotten at this average price. It's 23x. I mean, even if you could get half that, say Ethereum, say your average buy-in is at like 1,200 or something, make new all-time high. Look at these spider lines. This is where I've been guessing where the circle is. I mean, this is a conservative estimate, 8K. Some people think higher. Around 8K. 8K is
Okay.
a big area. There's a lot up here, and then 12K, 11K. I'd say in the upper echelon, 11K. I mean, who knows? Maybe you could even get up to 16K. But I think the upper echelon, like between 8 and 12K, is kind of a good goal in my opinion for ETH. And yeah,
Yeah, it's funny. 8,000 is a level that I've been looking at. It's everybody, 15K, 20K. Listen, I hope, but I don't want to make you make some mistakes, especially with long term stuff. One of the first mistakes I made, and probably the biggest thing that I struggled with, short term trading, leverage trading, and investing all together, was greed. That was like the hardest thing. I always wanted to hold for longer. It'll go up a little bit more, and then it dips down a little bit.
Yeah.
And you're like, it'll go back up, and then it goes a little bit more down. And so I do really like to keep my predictions pretty conservative. And it's like you don't have to sell it all at that price, right? Like I think people are like, sell half, keep half, sell 75%, keep 25% in, right? And then just leave that moon bag, to fly up to higher prices if it's going to happen. But I've just held stuff too long, too many times in the past that I like to be much more conservative now.
Yeah, it's tough too because like for a long term, obviously like Michael Saylor says, like he's a 20-year guy. He's waiting 20 years. He's going to be, I don't know how old, he's going to be in his 70s by the time he's the goal. He was already a multimillionaire when he did this. He's just trying to build his empire more, and it's not really even going to affect his life whether he was worth 100 million or whatever he was before. Now became a billionaire. He's probably worth in the hundreds of millions before. I mean, a lot of the people too, I think Alex Becker has talked about this, like a lot of the people that made large amounts in crypto, they were already multimillionaires, a lot of them. Like they already had, like it's pretty rare somebody goes from a 9-to-5 job and invests in crypto and makes enough to be able to quit their job and retire. I'm not saying you can't do it, but I'm saying like it's rare that people kind of are able to do that, which is kind of the sad reality of it. But at the same time, doing like if you have a normal job and you don't have that much time to study the charts and become a professional trader and go through all that, the best course of action is kind of, I think, what I just showed you, the DCA areas into Bitcoin, the DCA areas into Ethereum, and potentially all coins could fit a lot of those DCA areas. And that's kind of a good bet to potentially get maybe up to a 10x if you diversify in the right altcoins in the next bull run. And a 10x, I mean, to make life-changing wealth, you'd probably have to put in 50 to 100 grand into there. Obviously, people are going to say, no, I could get way more with, this micro cap altcoin. I'm sure maybe you can, but I'm taking a more safe kind of path with this. I mean, we've all been wrecked a lot with altcoins, and we saw it happen to Luna. I mean, you got to diversify there. It's a venture capitalism strategy. It's more like, buy 10, 15 of them, a couple of them will go to zero, but a few of them will do very well. And then you overall will beat Bitcoin. So,
yeah. I actually, speaking of meme coins, what's your thoughts on this last little meme coin run? I personally, seeing those meme coins run like that, it just brought me right back to the top of the bull run, where I was actually talking to DZ, a lot of people know that are watching right now, the host of ATB. We were talking like, hey man, like, I don't know, I think it might be over. And then, as we were coming down, we just looked at each other and we're like, dude, the meme coins were going absolutely berserk. Like all the red flags were there, and I got a little bit of deja vu. Obviously, we're not in a bull run, but the top of this little bear market rally, those meme coins started flying, and I was like, this is a little worrisome for me at least, because every time we see these meme coins go crazy, it usually marks a pretty significant top.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I've been saying for like warning people. Just like look at what happened when Doge peaked out, Bitcoin crashed 50%. Look what happened when Shiba crashed out, topped out, Bitcoin crashed well over 50%. I mean, I think this time it's probably going to be at least from that 31K top. It seems like I know it sounds a little dark, but my best case scenario is kind of like retesting like very low 20s, like retesting your 300 weekly moving average, which is right around maybe a little bit above 20K right now. And that's typically the way Bitcoin moves. I mean, look at like I was talking about towards the end of 2019, like that volatility was nuts. You crashed like 40%, then you jumped to 30%, then you crashed another 40%. Like it's a roller coaster, especially we're seeing the SEC, especially with the fear of a recession. I think you're going to see, like even in traditional markets too, with the run up of the NASDAQ, the S&P 500, you're going to see a lot of volatility, I think, come second half of this year.
Yeah, it's so all right. I want to move. Actually, let me ask you this: as far as long-term DCAing, do you have? Obviously, you just talked about your kind of strategy with the 2-week money flow. What is your?
Yeah.
Are you someone who is like? How does your dollar cost average strategy, like your actual physical buy? Like for me, I absolutely I will promote these until I'm blue in the face, and I really have nothing to benefit from them. But just because I love them so much, I use the KuCoin DCA bot, and it's like my favorite thing in the world. It's so customizable. You could put whatever amount of money at every whatever period of time you want, every hour, 2 hours, day, week. And that's kind of how I do it, right? I have all my coins. I turn the bots on. If we get a big pump and I don't want to buy the top of the pump, I'll turn them off. And then we start coming down. I turn them back on. How do you do it? Do you dump in a bunch of money, a little bit every day?
I do it once a week, typically. I try to do it on Mondays once a week, just keep it kind of simple. Your strategy probably sounds a little bit better using a bot, and you could definitely automate that. I like to do things manually. I've never even used bots even for trading. I'm just like old school like that. But yeah, that's kind of my strategy, just DCA once a week. I use Coinbase and then transfer it over to a hardware wallet. I personally use a Trezor right now. I have one of the older Trezors, so maybe they don't know my, with all the fear of the Ledger thing, maybe they don't know my keys. But obviously, I think at this point, the safest thing is probably a paper wallet. At this point, we're going all old school. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I do. And then the other thing, too, that I wanted to, because people want to know when to kind of get into altcoins. And this is my strategy to potentially kind of convert my Bitcoin. If you want to be a full degenerate, maybe I'll convert all my, you didn't hear this from me, but convert all my Bitcoin into ETH and altcoins potentially. Look at ETH Bitcoin. I think we're at least going to get down to 0.05 right here. And then if you break down, look at the technical target. You have a technical target out of this channel at 0.03 right here. So that could be a potential. This is if I would say ETH may make a lower low. It's possible ETH could make a lower low if you do come down this much. I think best case scenario is kind of 0.05 right here. This is where I would be starting to DCA into ETH. This would be a big point, which everything aligns to potentially where I'm predicting September, October, that kind of area. And then let's look at a fan favorite like Cardano. When was the best place to get into or maybe convert some Bitcoin to Cardano? It was this kind of channel over here. This is where ADA bottomed out against Bitcoin. And the other thing, too, on the 2-week, I'm waiting for maybe the next green dot or the one after. Probably the one after. September, October is really what I'm looking for. So if you see that, here, this is the place. You see that the beginning, maybe in August, and then go until maybe mid next year, potentially. And then I think mid next year is probably the place to stop and just wait a year until we see the next bull run. And then hopefully, I mean, if you see, look at what it was. You would have outperformed Bitcoin by 12x essentially in this amount of time. And let's just look at, everybody always asks me about Solana. So let's just look at Solana Bitcoin right
I'm
here.
I'm curious your thoughts on Solana as well. I DCA'd into Solana and got wrecked.
Oh man. Well, it doesn't look good it doesn't look good against Bitcoin right now, at least. It doesn't look good in general, but it doesn't look good against Bitcoin right now with the ELX right here. And I think the next place to latch onto, unless we have the double bottom here as we see, next place to latch onto is down about another, from that low, down about another 50% against Bitcoin, which I think is absolutely possible here. But I think, if you look here, I mean, if it does what it did here, that's a 16x against Bitcoin potentially. Another one, too, that I kind of like is a Link that I've been keeping my eye on is Link. If this goes down a little bit more here, and maybe we get down, I don't know, another 40, 50%, maybe this area against Bitcoin, kind of what I'm thinking. That's a 14x against Bitcoin. Another one, last one I'll show you right here. Another one I really like, Atom. This one's a weird one. Hit that big point. If there was one altcoin I would give a shot right now, look, it's hitting that major point. But I'm a little concerned about this. This is the point I'm really looking at right here. Yeah. Look at how you outperformed. That was less from 2021. Atom's an interesting one, but I think it's coiling up. I think this one may break out of this kind of channel here eventually against Bitcoin, and we may see some big jump up in the next bull run where you get up to you outperform Bitcoin by potentially, let's see if you got in down here, maybe 20 to 30x or something. I don't know though. Interesting to look at.
I really like Cosmos. I think I think Cosmos is going to do really good in the next bull run. I was actually just going to ask you kind of what altcoins you had your eye on. But I'll get back to that if you have any more to mention. I do just want to get this question. This is an interesting one. I'm actually just going to read this one off because I don't want to mess it up. This one's from Wick. Shout out to Wick. But he says 25,000 Bitcoin this year is not the same as 25K Bitcoin last year. Do you think the relief from inflation is a significant contributor to changes in price? If you do you think accommodating for inflation in our charts would help us find price patterns and anticipate market movement easier?
Okay, so he's saying basically because inflation is obviously the inflation is the price of goods is obviously less than it was. Like in terms of buying power, 25K is less. Yeah, the other thing too is when Bitcoin was at 25K last year, altcoins were way higher than they were. That's another thing to keep in mind too, because altcoins were way higher, and now we're seeing the altcoins continue to obviously bleed against Bitcoin. In terms of the inflationary aspect, I mean, if you factor in, what is it? Bitcoin against, let me show you the chart here. Bitcoin, this is what he's asking about. Let's see if I can get the chart up. Bitcoin versus M2, I believe, will give us what we're looking for. Yeah, so you already came down in terms of like your November low here. You already came down to like, oh man, what would this have been? Like 50, I don't know if this will like tell me what I'm looking for. No, well, maybe like 15K or something in terms of, this is like buying power. So really, yeah, we're at like really 20K right now in terms of buying power, which is kind of almost depressing, kind of almost like depressing that we're, because if you like say you bought at the exact, say you remortgaged your house, took loans to buy Bitcoin, which some people did at the exact all-time high here at 20K, you're still down a bit. You still got to wait a little. Like it'll probably be okay in the next couple of years, but you still got to wait a little bit. And then even this chart looks like, looks similar to the regular one. The other thing too I've been keeping my eye on is the 3-week here. You may get a trigger wave to the downside, and then once this plays out, then you may be home free once you hit these areas. So these larger time frames, this is the first time ever we got this trend reversal here in the 3-week.
Yeah,
so,
that's pretty interesting. What are your thoughts on the monthly? I know the monthly. I was looking at the monthly yesterday. VWAP is coming down. That is one thing that I'm looking at, and I'm like, eesh, like this is one thing that I'm looking at that's like we might have a bit more down to go. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, what I was doing was comparing that to the NASDAQ. Let me get up the monthly just on regular Bitcoin right here. And what you could see here is, I mean, it looks kind of like the 3-week to a certain extent. Money flow is coming down. VWAP is coming out. What I want to compare this to, obviously it looks pretty bearish overall. I mean, how would you approach this if you saw this on, the 4-hour or the 3? I mean, pretty bearish. Let's compare this a little bit to, I just want to get the NASDAQ after .com bubble because there's really nothing to compare it other than that's kind of close to it. NASDAQ after .com bubble, we were kind of at this, it was kind of like this area over here essentially. And then you had the green dot and then you got the red dot and ooh, man, that was a complete nightmare here. That was down another 45. From the top though, if we say this was like 31K from the top, this would be about a 53% drop down, which I think is kind of more of the like bad, more of the like worst case scenarios of what we would see. And let's see what 53 would give us right here if that was to play out. 53, a little bit of a lower low, so essentially a double bottom, maybe a little bit of a lower low to just scare everybody away kind of. That's kind of the lower downside potential I see if you compare it to kind of this area. So, and then that next green dot here, I think it most likely you get the red dot and then maybe you'll get a little bit of a bullish div here. Let me draw it out for you guys. Look for this on the chart, maybe in September, October or something later this year. That would be kind of not financial advice, but I think that's a no-brainer to get in if that happens.
Div on the monthly would be insane. I saw the bull div on the weekly, and I was like, that's one of the big reasons why I do feel like the bottom is more likely. And I saw that div, and I was like, okay. But yeah, if we got that on the monthly, it would be, absolutely insane. So I have another question about your DCA strategy. So for me, I've been DCAing in for a little bit now. Obviously, I've been much more Bitcoin and ETH heavy rather than just, degenning into a bunch of altcoins. I have started to slowly DCA into some altcoins. But was there, what was the point where you were like, now I'm going to start my DCA, start buying every week? And did you start Bitcoin heavy? And are you still sitting out of altcoins? Have you started to leak into the altcoins?
I have not. So I largely got out of altcoins before around that like weekly blood diamond on Bitcoin you were talking about, like last April or whatever. I largely got out there. ETH was looking terrible too. I think it had a blood diamond like on the 6th day or something. Like that was kind of like the area. Like it was very obvious like that the likelihood it was where we would come down. I've been largely out of altcoins then. I have not started DCing into altcoins just yet. What I'm waiting for, I'll just show you quickly on the chart exactly what I'm waiting. Oh, there's one other thing. Yeah, this is a good thing to show you, to tell you. Look at Bitcoin dominance here on the 2 weeks. So this would have been a pretty good time to DCA into altcoins. Look at this green area here. I know it was a long time. This was all the way from July 19 to February 2021. Long period of time. But see right here, this was, what did I, well, I must have lost it there. But anyway, so see how we're close to it and we're getting into the, almost getting into the green, just like this area, and you weren't quite there yet. Still could have another jump up. I think 55%, like this middle fib level, like right here, is going to be like mid 50s is going to be a good place, like DCA in for about 8 months into maybe April, May of next year. So if you start, September, October into April, May of next year, I think that's kind of the sweet spot, similar to over here. Obviously, you had another shot to get into altcoins, maybe convert some Bitcoin to altcoins over here at this kind of top, but that was like just up, down. Like that's hard to, you would have been better off to, unless you're like the best trader in the world, to kind of DCA in like this area, like from September 19, like to June 20. Like that area was kind of the sweet spot because that's when a lot of altcoins bottomed against Bitcoin, like Cardano. I think a lot of them did. Let's just see when ETH as well, I believe. This was in, September, where it bottomed like right around here. And I don't think it's going to be as catastrophic as, what we, in terms of money flow here, this would have been oh my God, this was a nightmare back here. That was a 78% correction against ETH. I mean, if we were to come down, like 60% would be, kind of my lower point for ETH. It could be even bottom out higher. I mean, ETH is resilient, but double blood diamonds on the weekly, man, I don't know. I'm just not too about that. And I think the 2 week here with this money flow, wait till potentially this gets in the red too. Everything's pointing to August, man. Everything's pointing to August, September, October.
All right. I love it. Listen, I always tell people, I always say DCA is the way, right? Like, especially, if you're not a short-term trader, or you're not a day trader, like we are, it's like, I wouldn't even try to time the bottoms, right? Like, if that's the case, just wait for the blood to come, wait for everybody to scream Bitcoin's dead, and then start to slowly DCA into the market. It's a lot less stressful, especially for most people, I feel like everybody I talk to, like, I always say this, everyone wants to be a day trader. And I'm like, do you though? Like, do you want to look at the charts all day? Like, it's not, because I think there's that, that kind of, there's like that stereotype that, I guess stereotype kind of has a negative connotation, but there's that idea that, you're going to lay on the beach, click buy, click sell, and you're just going to cash in super easily. And there's a lot of influencers out there that make it easier to believe that. They like to make you think that it's more attainable than it is. They don't, it takes a lot of hard work, as I know you know. But I tell people DCA,
Yeah, that's the best. Like to get a potentially to get a 10x the next bull run, or even maybe a 20x DCA based on what I think is the best strategy, which is the strategy that I showed you, which is the best kind of thing. And I do that with a lot of my crypto holdings are that. I mean, there are, accounts I trade with, it is where you got to worry about an FTX too. I mean, be careful where you're putting your stuff. I mean, Bybit's requiring KYC now. I think BitGet's getting a little bit stricter with it. So be careful with that too. They're not going to take away your funds, but the main thing to kind of worry about here is too, if we get more of a flash crash, we don't know who's liquid or not. We don't know who's kind of still has. So never put all your eggs in one basket too. I'd never recommend anybody just put all their crypto, unless it's unless you don't really believe in crypto and you're just trying to trade it for a little bit. I wouldn't recommend anybody put all their crypto holdings in a leverage exchange. I think that's just, you're just asking to get wrecked there.
I would 100% agree with that. I mean, for me, it's like, I do have a lot of my crypto is spread out pretty wide. Like, I mean, a couple of exchanges could go down that I have my money in, and I wouldn't like it. It wouldn't be fun, but I would survive. But with all that being said, I do want to, and you said you use Trezor, you said?
I have a Trezor that I bought back in 2020. I think it's like the first model or whatever. So I think I might be like, I know somebody said, I'm not an expert on it, but somebody said like the old ledgers, they didn't have the technology where the company knew your private keys or whatever. So maybe it could be like that. I think it's if you have the older technology, it could be a little bit safer. I don't know though.
It's so funny. It's like we're going backwards, but it's a good thing.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, but the thing that sucks about my treasure is it's not compatible with like Cardano. It's not compatible with a lot of the altcoins. But I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's I always I say this all the time. I probably should make more of my crypto should probably be on my hardware wallet than it is. But again, I'm very, like I always tell people this, I am very widely diversified. It's not like I have all my money on Coinbase or all my money on, BitGet or whatever. But I wanted to move on. I have a question from Julio. And he wants to know, and then I have a question too, which is kind of unrelated. But Julio asks, what is your, because I know you're obviously a big market cipher guy. What's your favorite, his question is what your favorite bullish chart pattern is. And my question is, do you look at patterns? I know some people don't even look at them. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So so there's a few different ones. I mean, I use traditional TA with market cipher to a certain extent. I think one of my favorite ones was a trade I actually took this morning with kind of got the long, and this works a good amount of time. Let me get up my Bitcoin chart with the spider lines you could see right here. And let's go to our lower time frames. I'll show you exactly what I'm kind of looking at here. And so we saw this big spider line pocket right here, which is what you kind of need here. Support resistance. You formed kind of some type of bear flag, bear pennant. You broke down from that essentially, came down, and then what I was looking at was on a lot of these lower time frames, especially this pattern too. When you look at the 10-minute, look at these 4ELXs, and then look at how money flow is coming up, and you're getting like bullish divs as you're breaking past, kind of breaking out of this channel right here. That's what I really like. And then if we, I'm just trying to think, trigger waves are good too. I really like, this was around where I entered. Look at the trigger wave as money flow is coming up. The trigger wave as money flow is coming up. That worked beautifully right there, especially as you're hitting the point. You got to use this kind of as you're hitting an area right there. And it's fun with the longs especially. And you can even argue here. I mean, sometimes I'll do like things like this to get like, take profit points or something. You could even, this is a weird kind of maybe reverse head and shoulders or something like that. And then you take, from the neckline essentially up here to this low right there. This was a place where a little bit higher locked in profits right around, 25.2 something, locked in profits on that long position right there. And then especially money flow crossovers are good too, just these lower time frames. And then the other thing too that I really like I would say probably the second best one that I like is right now what I was showing you earlier, where we'll see if it's not really the exact strategy right here, but you're getting the bearish div. Money flow is coming up, so it's not really right here, but you're getting that bearish div. And then this you might have been able to get a little something out of, yeah, especially if you entered right here. And then this would have been a pretty good risk-reward ratio. This is like, because if you entered right there, stop loss above your swing high right there, and then that's not a bad risk-reward ratio for the bear div. Usually, even if you were to pump up higher here, let's say we just pumped up higher, you probably would have been able to get something out of that setup. And then maybe if we do pump up higher, and then you see more money flow coming out, we do something like this, you come up here, you get an even like bigger bearish div out of this area, another bearish div here, kind of, let's see the next one, kind of like that. And then that's prices coming higher there as more money flow is coming out. That's a good thing to look at, and especially see confluence, see it maybe this time frame too comes out. And then maybe you'd finally, yeah, this could be good because you're not getting the bearish div yet. This is coming out here. Say we make the higher high here, like I drew out. This is coming. You get a lower wave. That's a bear div too that could start to bring you down here. So that's what I really like too.
Love it. Yeah, I'm huge on divergences, and I'm kind of similar. I keep an eye on the patterns. I don't trade solely based off of them, and I always say this. It does not mean that you cannot trade solely based off them. I'm not throwing shade at patterns at all. People profitably trade patterns all the time. It's just I kind of look at them for confirmation. I kind of like using the, like you were just saying, using the technical target as a, maybe a take profit level or something like that.
Yeah, there's certain people that are just so obsessed with the head and shoulders or the reverse head and shoulders. There's certain people they are like, it's that head and shoulders is the way.
And hey, I always tell people, listen, if you're making money doing it, then I tell people on my channel all the time, listen, if you're making money doing what you're doing, don't change it, right? Like if you're winning, then win. But I have another question that just came in here from, oh God, this is a hard one. Gedris. I think that might be how you say it. But they say, Evan, what's your favorite time frame / indicators on Market Cipher? I guess you kind of did just go over that. But he was basically asking like what your favorite time frame would be for the shorter term or the shorter end of swing trades. So I guess, not holding it for 3 weeks, but
so I'm trying to think in terms of like a few days. The 4 hours, I would say, pretty good for that, especially for kind of entering stuff. 4 hour divergences are pretty good for that. And then the daily, especially if you could see something like money flow crowd, like 1/16th, I like to look at. Like, for example, the 4 hour or the 15-minute. That's more of shorter term, but for swing trading, the daily and the 90-minute could be good for that, especially looking at trigger waves in money flow coming up on the 90. While the daily is getting to print a bullish div or a bearish div. It doesn't come up too often, but that could be a potential. So in terms of the question of just like what time frames to look for, like a shorter term swing, the 4 hour, I would say the 90-minute up to the daily, or like the 2 hour up to the daily is good for that.
Yeah, I really like my favorite time frames in general are probably like the most common, like if you could show wear and tear on the time frame buttons, my daily 4 hour and 15-minute, it would be just completely washed away. Like those are my favorite time frames to look. I love looking at the daily for kind of my longer term environment time frame.
Yeah.
4 hour, like you were saying, bullish div on the 4 hour with confirmations on those lower time frames is really what I like to look for. But yeah, we did just get another one coming in here from Bullish on Parade. He said, what would the Bitcoin dominance have to do in order to bring in alt season and then Bitcoin capitulate down?
I don't know. Wait, okay. Bring in alt season and then have Bitcoin crash? Is that
Yeah, that's...
Has that ever happened before? Oh, he means everything crashing, not just Bitcoin.
I get, yeah. In order for alt season and then Bitcoin capitulate down.
Okay, so that's a scenario probably like, I'll share my chart. I'll show you the last 2 times that happened. So, well, right here that happened in May of 2021, right there. That happened also in November of 2021. The time before that was obviously here. So it's not something that does not happen very often at all, December, January of 2018. So most likely you're not going to see that. I mean, you may see something like that into the halvening. I think we could see a big rally up into the halvening. And you define capitulation. I mean, maybe Bitcoin crashes back to 25K or 20K. That could be, one scenario, and the alts crash with it. But I don't think you're going to really see that until sometime in 2025, like a major one like back here or back in May, or, the granddaddy of all of it, 2018. But yeah, you're going to have to be waiting probably. So yeah.
Yeah, that's people always say when meme coin season. I mean, when altcoin season, and I'm like, it was in last altcoin season. The last real altcoin season was in 2021. Probably not looking for another serious one until.
Yeah, I mean, define altcoin. Yeah, like define altcoin season. I mean, we kind of had from the November lows to like March, April. They did, a lot of them did shoot up like Solana, but Bitcoin did outperform the majority of them through that area. So yeah, a real altcoin season where like you get crazy stuff going on, like that doesn't happen. That's really only happens in the bull run years. Like we saw that obviously at 2017, 2018. Really 2017, that was really the time to be alive, because even from 2016, like if you were buying XRP, there were many altcoins back then. I mean, ETH, XRP, like that went to the freaking moon back then. So yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be, you're probably not going to see a major altcoin season until at minimum like mid 2024, and it probably will go into early to mid 2025, like history has done.
Yeah, that's you just mentioned Solana. I had mentioned I got wrecked a little bit on Solana. I DCA'd very, very lightly into Solana for some pretty specific reasons, but was buying into it right before all the FTX stuff, right? And it wasn't like I wasn't dumping a bag in. It was still early to be DCing into altcoins for me in general. I wasn't buying really any other alts. I just wanted to get some Solana, and bought it I don't know, a month. I DCA'd a little bit into it a month, and then it went to zero, basically. It went to $8. But I will say this. I didn't say this before. I degenerately, when we dumped down to $8, I degenerately bought a bunch of pre-leveraged 3x long Solana tokens. And I made it all back plus a little bit. I like broke even plus a little bit. But I am still holding that spot bag, and it is still quite underwater.
Are there like fees with that when you have those levered? Like, is there decay with that, or fees or stuff where you don't get as much as you really deserve?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I prefer just regular leverage.
Yeah.
They kind of make it seem, they advertise it like you'll never get liquidated, but they rebalance like every so often. I don't know the exact time frame.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like
it's called decay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah. It's like buying those leveraged ETFs in the stock market. I mean, sometimes they can be useful. I mean, you can do well with them, but keep in mind the exchanges, they're not going to let you do that for free. They're taking something.
Yeah, 100%. I like to do it. Like, I'll do it if I think there's, like, a narrative, right? Like, I won't do this with XRP, but if I was in a different situation, I already hold a lot of XRP, so, but, like, you know, in that case of Solana, right? Solana's at $8. It went, you know, just absolutely crushed. I figured there was going to be some kind of a bounce, and so I just picked it up. I held it short term. It ripped back up. I made my money back. I cut out. I was like, let me break even. I'm not trying to get rich off this. But yeah, I'll buy them once in a while just to, like, you know, just if I don't want to dump a bunch of my actual capital in, I'll just use it to compensate a little bit. But let's see. I think I have one question for you.
Go ahead.
So as far as just trading in general, obviously you trade crypto, and have you ever traded commodities, Forex? Forex is a big thing that people always tell me that I should get into, but I've never really I've messed around on demo accounts with Femex, with Forex, like a long time ago. But have you ever traded anything else other than crypto?
Yeah, so I mean, I've done stocks. I don't really use leverage for trading other things. Definitely stocks I've traded a good amount, mainly just spot trading. Gold and silver I've traded. That's pretty boring. A lot of these other venues too, Forex is more like a passive, unless, like, I mean, there's ways you probably could day trade it, but the way those markets move, it's more of like a passive thing. Like, you could be waiting kind of months for things to pan out, like with Forex trading. I've done it a little bit. I know Bing X, I've done a few pairs. I've messed around with it. I mean, it's the same as anything else. It's risk management, all that type of stuff. There's certain places too where you could go like 1,000x leverage for Forex kind of. And let me just show you. Actually, I mean, I do look at in my live streams like a few Forex charts, like ones I've been kind of keeping my eye on, and some of them are interesting, like the Costa Rican currency, the Costa Rican colone against the US dollar. This has shot up since June of 2022, 30% against the US dollar. It's hitting some major traffic right here. You're about to get a monthly anchor wave. I mean, unless the US dollar really capitulates here, money flow coming out in the weekly, excuse me. This could be a good trade down, doing a short position down to kind of these areas too. And if you look at Euro USD has been one I've been keeping my eye on as well. That's been jumping up, but potentially a short, kind of off of these levels to potentially short this. But now again, money flow is coming up. Some of them are really interesting, man. Even the Mexican peso against the US dollar. Just look at how much this has come up since the pandemic low here. The Mexican peso against the dollar, 50% against the dollar. In the last just imagine, like, think about that, like, and it's not really that the peso is going up, it's that the US dollar is going down. And I mean, look at this nice kind of like reverse head and shoulders. Look at where you could end up with the peso. I mean, it's not impossible for the peso to like shoot back to where it was in like 2014, shoot up another, let's see where that would be. I mean, so it's more of like a passive kind of maybe income stream, but there you could make some good trades here. I mean, even look at this monthly on the peso. I mean, I think this has room to go into the higher into the green here potentially, which is very interesting.
Yeah, I people always tell me like, hey man, like Forex respects TA so much better than crypto. You should trade Forex. But I always see the same thing. I'm like, I look at the charts and I'm like, okay, 0.5% move, nice. Especially coming from crypto, where it's like, only a 15% move on this altcoin. But I guess if you leverage it out like crazy, I guess you can maybe make some money. But last question, Evan. Last question before we let you go. Should we do? Okay, I was gonna do a funny question, but I'm gonna ask a serious one because I'm actually curious to know what you think about this. As
Yeah.
far as crypto narratives, do you have any, narratives that you think are going to be big in the next bull run? Is it going to be the AI tokens? Is it layer 2 scaling solutions? Do you have anything that you think is going to really pop off in the next bull run?
Oh man, I think I would guess more like metaverse stuff, like NFTs, that type of stuff, because this bull run was the first time we saw kind of the NFT type of thing, and I think that's like there's still enough fear with it, and enough people who think it's complete BS that like I think you may like if you. I think it's the same strategy for like getting into altcoins. I'm going to give it a few more months, but I think there could be opportunity with the NFTs, the metaverse stuff, because you obviously have Fate or Meta, the company Meta, on board with that, and then you have Apple with the VR headset. So I do think the gaming ones, the Meta ones, can do really well. The AI stuff gives me vibes to I know Garrett Soloway was talking about the other day. It's like kind of given vibes similar to like. Remember how marijuana stocks were like such a big thing, and then now they're all down 95%. Remember solar stocks were such a big thing. It's kind of given vibes to that, but then again, that's what happens with everything. I think it'll eventually come back. I mean, look at all these altcoins, DeFi altcoins. Look at the gaming altcoin. I mean, everything's down at least 80-something%. So I think it's in a bubble like everything else. I mean, it seems like everything kind of goes in the bubble in its early stages, and then comes down. Everybody thinks it's dead, and then it eventually kind of comes back. I think that's kind of the same pattern, but. In terms of like best bang for your buck, in terms of like what's already down and what bubble already popped, that's probably going to come back. NFTs, metaverse stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that on Around the Blockchain the other day. I was saying, I feel like NFTs for like hype brands, like think about like Supreme, even like luxury brands like Rolex, where you already have these people buying these watches, trying to let them appreciate in price, flip it for a better watch. Like that's a perfect target audience for NFTs. Like get this, Rolex date just, NFT. Like I think they would jump all over that.
Yeah, because I don't know if you saw, I think on Twitter, like there's an NFT, they were doing it where you could buy the NFT of the Rolex, and then the Rolex is actually held somewhere. So it's kind of like, it's like buying an ETF of the Rolex. It's kind of like buying a gold or silver ETF. Obviously, there's counterparty risk. Somebody could steal that, take that Rolex from you, Alex Mashinsky or whatever, something like that. But it is very interesting concept. It is definitely a very interesting concept there. And I don't see any reason to believe that won't be successful. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I just think, especially, Supreme too. It's like, these people are collectors. It just falls right into the NFT kind of demographic. But all right, Evan, listen, man, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate all the insight that you gave us and the Candle Mafia. Even taught me some stuff. So thank you for that. Candle Mafia, guys, we did throw Evan's YouTube channel is pinned to the top of the chat, guys. Go ahead and click on that and subscribe to Evan's YouTube channel. And before, this is actually the last question. Don't worry. It's going to be a funny one. You won't have to think too hard for this one.
Okay.
Who would win in a fight? We always ask a funny question for the last question. Who would win in a fight? A bear with the arms of a man or a man with the arms of a bear? I did not think of this question.
Bear with the arms of a man with the arms of, oh man, how strong.
That's
Probably the bear with the arms of, because the bear has the mouth, right? The bear has the mouth and all that. Because I feel like a bear, it's just so gigantic depending on the bear, but I feel like it could just rip your head off so quickly with that mouth. I mean, and then I would
too.
yeah, I think something like that. That's a good one. Yeah, we used to. Yeah, it's like what would win in a fight, a bear or a hippopotamus? Is another fun one.
Apparently, hippos are terrifying. I saw a Joe Rogan clip where they were talking about how hippos are like one of the most horrifying animals on the planet. I wouldn't.
They are, yeah. Like those animals are insane. Yeah, but yeah, it's a good question. That's a good.
Shout out.
Reminds me of like
Shout out to Anonymous. Moose, also giant animals. But Anonymous is the one that came out with that question. So shout out to Anonymous. But Evan, thank you again for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the insight. I know the Candle Mafia
it's always an honor.
Is eating this up. Let the people know where they could find you, what you got going on. Take 30 seconds and shamelessly shill yourself, please.
Yeah, thanks so much. Always an honor to be on, Frankie. I really appreciate it. Check out the youtube.com/Evan Aldo. Twitter is twitter.com/real. It's at real Evan Aldo. I do have a Discord community as well. There's a free community, and then there's some premium channels in there, so check that out. We do have a really good community. It's me and 2 other pro analysts in there, and a lot of people have really, really liked it. I think the first thing, just check out the YouTube channel, check out the daily TA. I'm a little bit more monotone, a little bit more quiet. Some people don't like that, but if you want to go to sleep, watch me a little bit. But yeah.
I like it. I like it personally, guys. Go check out Evan's channel. Don't forget to subscribe and smash the like button if you guys learned something. I know I did. Evan, thank you for coming on. Hopefully we can get you on sometime soon again. We definitely will set that up.
Yeah, thanks so much. Really appreciate it, man.
All right, have a good one, man. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Evan Aldo, ladies and gentlemen, let me pop off these headphones. I am hearing myself echo, very hard to hear. But shout out to Evan Aldo, guys. That was some really good stuff. We love having him on the show. I truly, truly respect his outlook on the markets. Really, really smart trader, smart analyst. And yeah, we got to come up with some kind of Discord or something where we can all kind of talk and share our ideas on the markets, because it's it's not until really we have people on the show, or I go on someone else's show, where we can actually hear other people's thoughts. So that's why I love having people on the show. So shout out to Evan. Thank you for coming on, Evan. And guys, definitely go check out the pin chat above and go subscribe to his YouTube channel. We love Evan on this show. Let me pull our chat back up real quick. There we go. But guys, let's go ahead. How long have we been going for? I think I do have time to kind of take a quick look at the charts. Evan +1 in chat, guys. Shout out to you guys. Let's go. Let's see. Yes, sorry about that, to Hall. I will get back to these super chats. Frankie Candles completely ghosted chat. Yeah, guys, I have like all the questions up during when we have our guests on, so I don't actually have live chat showing. But I'm back here, guys. Shout out to Creighton C, Donata Cabrera, Melissa, DeHall. It's fun to see Shy Frankie. It is funny. Are you guys not hearing me right now? Shout out to Bullish on Parade. Did you just trick me? Let's see. Frankie, you have a Discord. Shout out to Dave Digital. Frankie, you have a Discord where we welcome most other influencers. I don't really know what you mean by that, Dave, but shout out to you, man. Yeah, I'm not 100% what that means. But yeah, guys, shout out to Evan Aldo, and yeah, sorry for ghosting chat, but we're back now. I'm gonna go ahead and take a quick look at the charts, and we've been going. Oh, we got a little bit of time left here. But guys, let me go ahead and share my chart real quick. I gotta move around these windows a little bit. Bear with me. But here we go. Let's go ahead and let me pull up the chart, and let's try to take a look at what's going on, guys, because we are getting some crazy moves on Bitcoin. Here we go. All right, let's go ahead and zoom out, take a look at the daily. Let's see. I enjoyed this TA interview. Shout out to Gen Z. Really good. Shout out to you. Thank you for the kind words. We do appreciate you. Bullish on Parade, said JK. Shout out to Bullish on Parade. But let's see. Yeah, I was chatting about how Chemistry Bro, I was thinking about you the whole time we were looking at that M2 money supply. I should have said something. Let's see, supply up to you in the premium Discord stream. Yeah, dude, I should have said something. I was thinking about the same thing. I was like, our mod Chemistry Bro actually brought up the M2 money supply. But let's see. Oh, shout out to Dave Digital, said most most is a funny inside joke, Frank. Well, Dave, get me in on the inside jokes, bro. Shout out to Dave Digital. But let's go ahead and continue on here, guys. Let me cover the TA real quick, and then I'll run back into the super chats. But I will read this one right here because it's from Bison9, and it just popped up. Said just. Shout out to Bison9. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Says just cashed on a big trade today. Frankie's long call today. Made your boy some Quan. Let's go. Bagel Blaster incoming. Woo! Hey, guys, he said Bagel Blaster incoming, not me. I have to do this. I have to do it, guys. He brought up the Bagel Blaster. Shout out to Bison9, bro. Congrats on making that money, and I do want to clarify, man, you did the hard part of that trade. You managed it. You managed your emotions, and you hit the sell button or the buy button. I guess it was a buy button if it was the call from this morning. And, dude, you made the money. It's not me. I did the easy part. You did the hard part. So shout out to Bison9. Congrats, bro. Bing bong. Oh, whoa. Okay. Everybody calm down. Everybody calm down. That went from 0 to 100 real quick, guys. But shout out to Bison9, bro. Congratulations. And, yeah, I'll bring up that trade in just a second. But, guys, let's dig in and see what we got going on Bitcoin, because obviously we got that big move down, and now we're getting a bit of a bounce here. Shout out to Chemistry Bro, said, you're a great host, interviewer for the guest, Frankie. Props. Shout out to Chemistry Bro. I do appreciate that, man. I do genuinely enjoy having people on the show because, like I said, it's not every, I'm not like constantly talking. I'm not I'm not constantly talking to, Evan and Crypto Lifer. I don't constantly talk to these people, outside of when they're on the show. So I really am always curious what they, I don't always have time to watch the content that they make. So I always am very genuinely interested in what they have to say. Shout out to Tyler Durden, said, I will not calm down. Shout out to Tyler Durden. But let's see. Hey, Gomez said you did the same for me today, bro. Shout out to Gomez. Let's go, bro. Congrats. Yeah, guys, we've been crushing in the premium Discord. It's an absolute blast. But guys, let's dig in here and see what we got going on for price action and see what Bitcoin's next move is going to be, right? So obviously, guys, we did come down to some pretty important. I'm going to end the Q&A. We did come down to some pretty important support, right? Let me go ahead and turn on the actual TA. Now, obviously, guys, we were looking to get a move deeper into this blue box. We did wind up wicking down to about 24,700 before winding up getting a little bit of a bounce, right? And we did have this level here. This was 24.8 was kind of that level, but we were just looking for some support inside of this blue box. And I believe yesterday on the live stream, we were looking for a potential bullish divergence on the 4-hour time frame, but we did not get it, guys. We did not get it. Now, you could technically call this a bullish divergence. You are skipping a momentum wave there, which I don't necessarily have a problem with. Hey, shout out to D Savage, said longed 25K and made a nice $600. Let's go. Need to do more chats with Evan. I would love to have Evan on the chat. I would love to have Evan on the show more often. I really like Evan. We got to hang out in Miami. He's a really good guy. And like I said, I absolutely respect his opinion. What is going on? How come I put on live chat and the entire chat disappeared, guys? There's literally 7 chats right now. That just deleted all of the live chat. That is wild. Okay. All right. Let's, I call it bull div. Shout out to G Life. But guys, we were looking at this somewhat of a bullish divergence. Obviously, you would have to pull this from down here. Still gives you that bullish divergence, which obviously is going to be a likely chance for you to get a bounce to the upside. And we were also looking at this money flow on the 4-hour. We were hoping we were going to get a little bit of a nice curvature here. And if we zoom in, guys, I don't want to get too graphic here, but look at that rounded bottom. Look at that rounded bottom, guys. That is basically what we're looking for some potential more upside for Bitcoin. If we can get this 4-hour money flow crossover into the green, there we go. Now chat is coming back a little bit. Yeah, shout out to Crypto Pollo. Got to meet Evan, too. It's super chill person. But there you go, right? You did have that 4-hour bull div into our key level of support, which did give us the bounce to the upside. And there were some more specific signals to go along on the lower time frames earlier today. That's what we were looking at in the premium Discord. Absolute, beautiful, beautiful trade to the upside there. But again, we were looking at this on the live stream last night, guys, and not unlikely to get that bounce here. But we are coming up to some interesting levels, and I'm going to pull up this naked chart here. Don't tell YouTube, but sometimes you have no choice but to look at the. Yeah, shout out to Tony D. I am on live chat, and the chat just like reset. Very strange. I don't know what's going on. But let's see. Let's go ahead and dig in here, guys, because we are coming up to an interesting level. Guys, let me know if you guys like when I come onto this naked chart. Oh God. Let me know if you guys like when I bring up the clean chart and kind of find the levels and show you guys what we're doing from a fresh chart, because I feel like that would help people learn a little bit better. And then obviously I can show you guys all our legitimate levels that I'm looking at that I found on my own. But I do feel like, pulling up these fresh charts can really help people kind of learn how to actually do the TA. But just looking at the raw price action here, guys, you get a big move down and you get a big move up, right? Now, what would be a likely spot to reject here? Creighton? Correct. A local golden pocket. Great job, Creighton C. adjust your price trend line to match the momentum waves. Wait. Frankie, adjust your price trend line to match the momentum waves. I don't know. Shout out to Creighton C. I don't know 100% what you mean by that. Naked Cavs. Shout out to Donato Cabrera. But anyway, Creighton actually answered POC. POC would be another good place to reject. But I like your first answer better of the local golden pocket. And if you go ahead and pull this local golden pocket here, guys, from the high to the low, we are approaching this local golden pocket. If we go ahead and drag it down to this high, you can see we are rejecting that local golden pocket currently. Keeping a close eye on that 786 at about 25,780 for a potential second push up. And then obviously if you bring it up to this wick, the golden pocket is now at, 25,840, so you get that same kind of area. So this is kind of the areas where I would start looking for a rejection. I would actually rather look at this impulse to the downside and then just kind of look at this. I'll mark it off as a box. Just kind of take a look at this range right here, right, for a rejection. And then, I mean, we could even pull some, whoa, I just almost exited the live streaming software. But we could even pull, if you pull this local range here, your value area low comes in there, and even if you drag it to before the breakdown, I'm sure, let me unextend this really quickly. Boom. Your POC is in perfect confluence with that 786. So I definitely would be looking for some potential resistance here, guys. And then if we actually pull our full, more, local range that we've been looking at, you have your value area low right up here as well. I'll actually pull it up on the FEMEX chart because that's basically what we've been looking at this whole time, right? So shout out to you guys for using those emojis. I see you. Shout out to Hawkeye. But you guys can see here, right, this kind of local or micro volume profile that we have right here. We are also, not only are we testing those local golden pockets / local 786 Fibonacci retracement levels, but we are also testing this value area low, right? Rejecting that value area low, which is in confluence with that 786. And as you guys know, a lot of the time, price does like to come up, test those previous value areas, and then get another move to the downside, which I am not saying is impossible, but I will say this, guys. As you know, I have been leaning a bit more bearish on Bitcoin for the past few weeks, and it's been working beautifully as we've shorted almost every single high or low, and we caught this capitulation, we caught that capitulation, and this capitulation, right? I don't know if you would call those capitulations, but big moves to the downside, right? And we were able to catch every single one of those because of my bearish leaning bias based off of money flow, right? Now, the one thing I will say, this obviously wouldn't have made for a bad scalp short, which obviously actually what Evan was talking about, right? This was our trap. If you guys remember, I think it was yesterday we were looking at this as being our trap. But we are getting that nice rejection here, and actually that short Evan was talking about with that 12-minute bearish divergence. Actually, I think he was talking about this exactly. Put in another lower high on the momentum waves, and this actually would have played out for a nice little scalp. How much are you down here? Yeah, so I mean, if you get down to that golden pocket, you could make that a pretty profitable trade. But kind of the point I want to make here, guys, is the reason why I would be careful with the shorts right now is because if you take a look, right, our money flow is actually looking a lot better on a lot of these time frames, right? Money flow coming back up on the 4-hour. This is a decent sign, and we had spent a decent amount of time in the red, right? Last time we got a decent move to the down. Last time we got a decent move to the downside here, guys. You can see big move down, right? And then we spent some time in the red, and then we got another move down, and then boom, once you crossed over into the green here, you got a little bit of a bounce, bigger move down, fake out into the red, back into the green, big pump, right? And this whole move to the downside, as we have gotten big pumps and then big dumps and then big pumps and then big dumps, we have spent a decent time in the red. It may be time to start coming back up into the green here. Now, I wouldn't really be making any decisions based off of that until we actually get the crossover. However, with money flow looking a little better on the 4-hour, taking a look at the 5-hour, looking for the same thing, getting nice rounded curve to the upside here. I would be a little bit careful of the potential trend changing, right? And you can even see here, You did get this bullish divergence on your 6-hour as well. So, a lot of things saying that there was going to be a bounce here, right? Now, the question is it going to be a lackluster bounce, right? You guys are probably sick of hearing this term. Is it going to be another lackluster bounce before rolling back over and coming back to the downside? Or are we finally going to reverse here and come up to higher prices? And I will say, money flow, I don't think money flow is looking a lot better now, right? Money flow is starting to curve back up, even on the 6-hour. Even the 8-hour looks like it might start to round off here. You are getting the 8-hour green dot coming back down to that 30-minute, looking for a money flow crossover, looking for the 24-minute money flow is in the green, right? 45-minute actually kind of coming out there, right? But I would look for that 30-minute money flow crossover if you still have that 8-hour green dot to potentially give you a big move to the upside. But the point is here, guys, money flow doesn't look as bearish as it once was, right? Now, the higher time frames have not really turned around just yet, but you have to understand they are naturally going to take longer to switch around, right? They're going to take a little bit longer to kind of curve back to the upside, just of the nature of the higher time frames. Your daily still not looking the best here. Your 2-day still not looking the best here, still coming straight out. So I would be a little bit careful, right? I would be a little bit careful about your 4-day is still coming out. But these lower time frames, the reason why I would not be, I wouldn't be looking at this to be that lower high. Now, it could be, right? I'm not saying it can't be, right? Because even if you pull it up all the way to, I would really like to see us push higher up into the point of control of this range. Shout out to Creighton for bringing that up. I would really, you have better confluence up here, right? I would love to come up to that POC, but then you're going to deal with the kind of confusion of now, are you getting accepted back into this range and looking for a move back up to 26K or 26.1? But it would be a little bit more confluence if we can come up and reject that point of control. But definitely not, let me get that back down to where it was. Definitely not impossible to reject here, right? Because you do have the golden pocket, the golden pocket confluence with your value area low as well. I just don't know if we're going to get that lower low, just because that 4-hour money flow doesn't look too bad, right? We're finally coming up with that 4-hour money flow. So I would be a little bit careful with the shorts here. Again, not that you can't take the shorts, but I would, I'm just not. Every other bounce that we've gotten, like when we got this big bounce here, I was going short here. And I was saying, guys, it is very likely that this is going to be putting in a lower high here, and we are likely going to continue to the downside. That's why I went short here, right? And I was very confident about it. Even here, looking to short this lower high, money flow was still coming out on the daily. Money flow was still coming out on the 2-day. Things were looking very bearish. Was very confident in that short, right? Even here and here, all these lower highs that we shorted, was very confident in. I will be looking for short positions here, but I will be treating them more as scalp positions because we have to be ready to potentially shout out to Creighton C said, thank you, I'll take my star. I'll have to buy new gold star, just new gold star stickers, Creighton. We'll mail it to you, though. Shout out to you, man. But let's see. But yeah, that is basically, I would be looking for shorts. Potentially, we could come up a little bit higher. However, I would be very careful, right? I'm not like gung-ho short at this point, right? And I am also already short from up here still, right? Locking in profits along the way, but I am still short here, right? Maybe if I was in no short positions, I would be more inclined to enter like a bigger short. So yeah, there you go, right? And back on the clean chart here, let me pull this range one more time, right? So this is basically what we're looking at on that chart without all the clutter, right? Coming up to the golden pocket, value area high. Definitely a decent spot to start looking for some scalp shorts, right? But again, we could potentially, what I would really like is to come up to a more significant lower high, right? Maybe this macro value area low, right? Or more macro value area low. Maybe we pump up a little higher. This is not out of the question, right? 26.1. If we can get all the way up here, again, not only is this the value area low, not only is this a local golden pocket, it is also the value area high of your local range, right? So if we do continue to push up here, guys, this is important. Let me come down to a lower time frame. If we do continue to push up here, this is kind of what I would look for. Right? Let's say we push up a little higher. Let's say we get accepted back into this value area, right? Can you see that? Let me get rid of this golden pocket just to make it a little bit easier to see. And I'll get rid of this purple box as well, and this golden pocket, right? So we have the golden pocket confluence. Don't forget about it. But you have this value area low, right? So if we get above that level and hold it as support, it's likely that we're most likely going to at least come up to the POC at 25,881, or even that value area high at about 26,044. Now, this would be a very good spot to be looking for shorts for many reasons, right? If we get back in here and get a move up to the value area high, you would be looking for shorts at your value area high just because of the way the volume profiles work, right? So I would be looking for shorts here just in general while we range trade. That's what we look for. But you also have the confluence of this also being a bearish retest of your macro value area low, as well as a local golden pocket, right? So you got the golden pocket, value area low, and the value area high. So the logic of shorting, right, looking for shorts at this level would just make a lot of sense because you're at the highs of the range, which is where we look for shorts anyway, plus you have the golden pocket confluence, plus it could be a bearish retest of that value area low, right? Now, technically, this would be the bearish retest of that value area low, but that's just, just take it for what it's worth. That's a level that I would be looking for shorts at, right, as well as this level potentially, right? All right. Let's see. Shout out to Rob says, at CJ Baker, seriously, take a step away and come back later when your head is clear. We all make mistakes. We're human. You're human. Losses like this are very painful. Accepting a loss can take time. Oh, no. Let's see. She dumped me because she thought I was insane. Oh, hold on. CJ Baker says, lost my girlfriend because she told me to get in touch with my femininity. So I ignored her for a week, and I crashed my car. Oh, my God. What is going on? Yeah, well, my mind's not right at all lately. Let's see. Yeah, I'm butthurt. Meant to do a 12.5x short, but actually did 125x. Oh, God. Shout out to CJ Baker. Dude, oh, man, I hope you didn't. I just started using BitGet and wasn't used to it. Oh, CJ, you're the one that was talking to me in the Discord? Yeah, well, shout out to you, man. I'm like kind of getting the broken story here through chat, but it seems like you might have lost a bunch of money. And the lev was 125x for some reason. I thought it was, I think we spoke about this in Discord, man. Listen, man, I've gotten wrecked by accident on KuCoin, actually. I think what happened was they always default to limit orders, and I went to get into a long or a short, whatever it was. I don't really remember at this point, but I got in, and I must have clicked long or, buy or sell, right? Didn't realize, and then I was like, oh, man, it's on limit. Let me switch it to market. And then I actually got into a trade, not realizing that I didn't cancel that limit order that I placed. And then, whatever, I got into my scalp trade, got out, didn't look at KuCoin for a few days. And then when I checked back in, I lost like a couple grand. And I was like, what the heck? It was funny, too, because I was trying to show somebody that you can actually make money trading if you don't treat it as gambling. And I was like, yeah, like he's like, you actually make money in a bear market? I was like, yeah, dude, it's called shorting. What do you mean? And he's like, really? I was like, yeah, check it out. And I opened up my phone. It was like, I don't remember. It was like over $1,000 that I lost. And I was like, what the heck is this? I never got into this trade. And they were like, yeah, sure. And I was like, what happened? And the only thing I could come up with is that I accidentally set a limit order that I didn't realize. And then when I wasn't at my desk, it just filled the order, and then I got wrecked. I don't really know. But yeah, man, that's horrible. I would way rather lose money on a bad trade or off of a mistake that I made rather than something like that where it was just like, oh, man, that's rough, brother. Listen, man. Oh, not in the Discord. No. Interesting. I had a similar story in the Discord. But yeah, man. Yeah, I would get your head right, dude. There's no problem with walking away from the charts for a little bit, man. I do it sometimes. Sometimes you got to clear your head. And I'll tell you this. The worst thing you can do in a moment like this is try to reload your account and try to aggressively make your money back. You're going to wind up losing more money. I would not recommend that. I would recommend taking some time off. Go outside. Touch some trees, breathe in some fresh air, man, and, let it pass. Let it pass, man. There's no shame. Hands up. I lost 2573 Bitcoin in 2018. Oh, my God. That's wild. Yeah, revenge trading will get you wrecked unless shout out to I'm My Hero. Yeah, just don't revenge trade. Definitely not the best idea. So I would definitely recommend taking a step away, man. Clear your head. Yeah, I would be very, very careful, man. I wrecked many trades, My advice, don't revenge trade it. Sleep on it. Always another trade tomorrow. There will be another trade tomorrow, the next day, next week, next month, next year. You could take 3 years off and come back to the chart. And the day you come back to the chart, there's going to be a setup out there, man. So don't be afraid to take some time off. We all have to do it sometimes, especially after a loss like that. And I would say reassess what you did wrong and try to learn from the mistake. But I don't know the whole story. It seems like some weird thing. It sounds like a snafu. It seemed like it might have not been something you did. But yeah, man, it's rough. Hopefully you can get past that, man. Like I said, take some time off. But this is what I would be looking at on Bitcoin, guys. Right now we are rejecting that local value area low. Not a bad place to reject. If we do continue to the upside, I will be looking at that next major level. That next major level of resistance. I will be looking at that to potentially come in at that next value area high, which again, we have a lot of confluence there between the local golden pocket, the value area high, and that macro value area low. That would be the next place I would be interested in some shorts. Now, what happens if we come lower? If we get a massive dump here, which, again, with money flow coming back up, I don't know how likely that is to get another massive dump. But if we do wind up coming a lot lower overnight or something crazy happens, guys, the real next major level I would be looking at is going to be the bottom of the blue box or, basically this value area high coming in at about 24,350. So between the bottom of this blue box, right, and between the bottom of the blue box and this value area right here. More specifically, the important level is going to be the value area high at $24,368, give or take. And again, that is going to be a major level, right? And the reason for that is obviously because it is a value area high. So if we get below that level, it is likely going to cause more downside for Bitcoin, and that next major target would be down at about $23,444 at the point of control of that previous range that we were trading in from back here. You can see the point of control right here. But that's basically what I would be looking for, guys, right now. Again, that big bounce. Shout out to the premium Discord. Basically, we caught this. Didn't catch the bottom, right? We don't always catch the exact bottom. That would be right here. That would have been a beautiful trade as well. But we actually caught it from right here, right? We were looking for a golden pocket 786 retest. Bada boom. We got it. And then it blasted off to the races for about 3%, something like that. Beautiful little trade there. High risk to reward ratio, 6, almost 7. But there you go. Shout out to anybody who saw that. We tapped our trap to the dollar as we continue to come down here. So, but again, guys, in the short term, 4 hour, still VWAP just sticking straight up. Money flow coming up. I would expect this to roll over at some point. Again, as we are hitting these key levels, I wouldn't be surprised if we start to cool off. 1 hour red dot is likely incoming very shortly. And then, once you get that 1 hour red dot, the 2 hour starts to roll over, then the 3 and the 4 hour starts to roll over. So, I wouldn't expect another decent move down until we print our next 4 hour red dot. But at this point, guys, I am basically sitting on my hands, right? I am in the trades that I'm in a bunch of shorts. I'm in one long, and I'm sitting on my hands, right? We've been, I have to say, we do really well, right? But it's not, obviously trading is a bumpy ride, right? It's not like we always win every single trade. Recently, we have been absolutely crushing it. But, that does not mean that liquidation levels, please. Shout out to Crypto 101. Can you clarify? Can you, not your keys, probably Ben's Lambo. Shout out to Dave Digital. Yeah, if you could elaborate on that a little bit more, Crypto 101, like liquidations for my trades? Is that what you mean? Like, where would I be liquidated? I won't be liquidated because I have stop losses set, so I don't really have a liquidation level unless my stop loss doesn't work. But let me know. Let me know if you can clarify that. I'm a newbie, and I appreciate all the info, man. Shout out to Randall. I appreciate you for being here, man, and that's what we do here. I try to teach you guys how to make money, whether Bitcoin is going to the upside or the downside every single day here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's just what we do, right? That's what I like to do. That's my passion. I always wanted to help people. I didn't think I'd be able to help them do my favorite thing in the world. But that's what I'm looking at, guys. I really wouldn't look for a bigger move down until we get that red dot on the 4 hour. Again, the 2 hour and the 1 hour starting to roll back over. Not saying, oh, no, it's rolling over. We're going back down because of money flow, right? Like, look at the money flow on the 2 hour. Just crossed into the green. It is starting to come out a little bit here, which is a little bit worrying. But your money flow on the once that 4 hour money flow crosses over, I think that's where you can get a big move up. But even though we already did get a big move up, but I am still treating these as scalps, right? So yeah, we are starting to see money flow roll back to the upside. So my bearish sentiment is creeping back towards neutral, but I'm not quite there yet. I want to see this 4-hour money flow crossover, but in anticipation of this 4-hour money flow crossover, I am going to be very careful with my shorts now, right? Because if we are starting to round off here and we're going to come back up, we don't want to be the last. We don't want to be the last bears here, right? So we gotta, if it's time to wrap up the shorts, we got to be ready to wrap up the shorts. But let's see. Sentiment gets tough, especially in crypto when things don't do what everybody thinks. Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Crypto Crab, man. Yeah, 100%, man. I think Buddy wants to look at Bookmap. Shout out to Bitcoin Slut. Shout out to you, man. I am not going to open up Bookmap right now because I don't think my computer is going to like it. I have a lot of stuff open, a lot of heavy stuff open right now. I got, ExoCharts is still open. I got VMix open, TradingView, a lot of heavy stuff. I'm not going to pull up Bookmap right now, but maybe we could start looking at Bookmap a little bit more. Oh, dang, what was I just going to say? Oh, yeah, Dave mentioned Ben's Lambo. Funny story, guys. Me and Tony were in the Lambo today. We went to go pick up the Lambo, and we get it from the shop. It was just some maintenance, and we left. And Tony just moved here, right? So Tony's never driven the Lambo, so we let him drive it, and he's like, "All right, let me see what this thing can do." And it starts like sputtering, and I'm like, "What the heck? They just fixed this. They just fixed it, and I don't even think this was an issue." And we found out, guys, that we were running out of gas. We ran out of gas in the Lambo. Just two crypto dudes in a Lambo with no gas. And Ben's assistant, Allison, the actual GOAT, met us with a gas can, and we were literally in a parking lot. I'm in the parking lot filling up the Lamborghini with a red gas can. Like, people are like, this guy's driving this car but can't afford gas. It was just super, super, super funny. But Tony got to drive the Lambo. Maybe I'll throw some videos in the Discord. It was seeing the look on Tony's face was absolutely priceless. Super fun. Shout out to Ben and TJ. Like, it's really cool. It's really cool that we get to experience this. And me seeing, Tony D drive a Lambo for the first time was like one of the coolest things ever. The smile on his face, ear to ear, just like both of us, just like ear to ear in the Lambo. Super funny. Ran out of gas. It felt like the good old days, Tony, back in college when we really couldn't afford gas. It felt like the good old days. But yeah, it was really funny. People were coming out of like the stores like, "Hey, nice car, man. Like, are you guys okay?" Like, it's like, yeah, we just don't have any gas. But yeah, super, super funny. Mike Bennett said, "Crypto bros." I like to call us the Lamboys. But yeah, market going back up. Shout out to Danny Kitchen. Yeah, I mean, listen, it does look like money flow is rolling back to the upside. Nothing really super, super screaming at me on the charts right now that we are absolutely going to blast off. We are starting to get those green dots on the higher time frames, 8-hour, 10-hour, 12-hour looking for a green dot, 16-hour looking for a green dot as well. But yeah, I would just be careful because the shorter term time frames are looking like you might want to cool off. But again, because of the way money flow looks, just like when we were coming down, Rob said, "Lamboys? Cringe." No, it's actually funny. I'm not going to get into the whole thing. Somebody said, someone that we work with, shout out to Eron. If you guys have been watching the channel, not my channel, but if you guys watch Ben's channel for a long time and you watch the daily hits on Hit Network, you'll know who Eron is. He's the man. We love Eron, but he was, I actually have AAA, Jim. We should have called AAA. That would have been funny. Yeah, it's, me and one of the other people that work at the me and producer Aaron were in the Lamborghini one day right when Ben got it. We took it out for a ride or whatever, and we got back and we walked in and someone goes, well, if it isn't the Lamboys. And I was dead. I was like, dude, Lamboys? It was the funniest thing ever. But anyway, no Lambo for me. Porsche McLaren all the way. Shout out to Rob. I've actually heard that McLarens are like the best exotic cars ever, and everyone loves them, except everyone just gets rid of them because like they're super fast, super, like, performance is great. They look obviously amazing, but apparently all they do is break. And I've heard that from like 70 people. Not really 70. I don't know 70 people with Lambo, but with a McLaren. But I've just seen like everyone that has a McLaren loves it, but hates it. Like, it's a love-hate relationship because it's always broken. But they do love the car. They're like, I wish if this thing didn't break every single day, it would be my favorite car. It's literally what all of them say. But a lot of people prefer the Lambo for that reason. But I like McLarens too. I don't know if I would ever get one just because everyone says they break, and I really don't like dealing with broken cars. They fall apart. That's what Creighton C said. Pagani for the win. Yeah, let's go. I like tater tots. I like tater tots too. But guys, that's what I'm looking at on Bitcoin, right? Obviously, we are a little bit, not a shorter show, but our little TA section here is a little bit shorter today because we had Evan on. But he spit the sauce for you. Right now, guys, I'd be careful of a short-term pullback. And just like on the way down, when money flow was crossing into the red and coming out, we looked to short those lower highs, right? Short that lower high, right? Now I'm starting to look at the opposite, right? So on the lower time frames, if we could get this money flow to continue to work its way up here, now I'll say, yeah, like 30-minute, 24-minute. If we continue this, even if the 4 hour starts to cross over into the green, I will start to look to long higher lows, right? So instead of getting a move down and shorting the lower high, you come up and you long the higher low. Right, so I would be looking at, I would look at local golden pockets. Oh my God, I keep clicking the wrong dang thing. So I would look at the golden pockets. Bada boom, bada bing. Right. I don't know if you'll make it all the way back down here. I would love to come back down here, but I don't know if you'll get that. I would also be looking, in the short term for a move back down here to about 25.8. What is that? 25,370, come back down to this golden pocket potentially. But yeah, I would wait for that 4 hour red dot for the next big move down. But again, kind of preparing for money flow to come back up to flip a little bit more bullish. But let's see. You don't need to look wealthy. Be wealthy instead. Yes, absolutely. Shout out to Mars Solo. Do a track day and redline them all. Shout out to Tommy Tank. Shout out to anybody who's new. It's not my Lamborghini. It's Ben's Lamborghini. I don't want anyone thinking like I have a Lamborghini. I do not have a Lambo, at least right now. But let's see. I like my Lambo, George Washington. Oh, God. Let's see. Hidden Bear Div about to print on the 1 hour. Let's check it. Oh, yeah. Well, how'd he do? Oh, wait, hang on one sec. Where did that go? Oh, no, it's gone. It's gone forever. Who said? I don't know who said that. Shout out to whoever said that. Was it Metabice? I think it might have been Metabice. Let's see. 3 reasons you see Toyota trucks in every third world country. They last forever. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Just put rockets on roller skates, and I'll beat them. I'll beat them all. Let's go. It's rockets on roller skates. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of Lambos. That's right. Shout out to Dave Digital. But guys, with all that being said, I think that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream. Shout out to Evan Aldo. Thank you so much for coming on, bro. I can almost promise he's probably still not in here. But shout out to him if he sees a clip of this or something. We love having him on. Guys, go follow his channel. He's got a lot of really great content, great analyst, and hopefully we can have him on again sometime soon. How do we do on likes? I didn't even check the likes yet. Let me also fly through these super chats real quick, guys. Give me 1 sec while I pull up the wheel. Pull up that wheel, a little bada boom, bada bing. Oh, dang, we got a bunch of them. Shout out to Elliot Locke said, asked a question like this on Sin City Crypto and saw peeps saying FUD, not fudding. Honest question, do y'all think the depeg of the stable coins was a nothing burger or did it contribute to the dip? The depeg of the stable coins. Was there another depegging here? Hold up. I don't know. Shout out to Elliot. I don't even know if you're still in here. But I'll be honest, I don't know if I can answer that question because I don't know enough information about it. But shout out to you. I haven't really heard anything about that. Wasn't at the office today, though. Usually that's where I get a lot of the news. But shout out to Elliot. Tony D said, question for Evan Aldo, Q&A on YouTube chat. Thank you for that, Tony. Dave Digital said, Frank Q asked CryptoFace to unban Dave Digital. WTF, bro. Dave, what did you do to Face? Dave, you can't be getting banned on Face's channel. What happened? What did you say? Dave, let me know what you said. I got to see. What did you say, bro? What did you say? Unbelievable. I can't believe you. That's pretty funny, man. I'll try to talk to him. Shout out to you, man. I will do my best, bro. I will do my best. Burke said, what shampoo does Evan use? Unfortunately, he can't answer that, but I happen to know. He's actually Pantene. Is that a shampoo? I feel like that's only from the 90s. But anyway, shout out. I think it's, I don't know the name of shampoos. I just use whatever Mrs. Candles has. Shout out to Burke. I love that question. Hey, shout out to Alex O. He says, thanks to these two absolute gents providing alpha and pushing the crypto narrative. God bless. Shout out to Alex O. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for that super chat, and thank you for always being here, man. And then Bison, we read this. Cash in on a big trade today. Frankie's long call made to your boy some Quan. Let's go. Bagel Blaster incoming. Bagel Blaster's empty, guys. Sorry. Out of money. I had to buy gas with a Lambo. But guys, thank you all for being here. Let's go ahead and pull up this wheel of pain and pleasure. I don't think I'm showing my screen, but I got to double check it. Let's see. All right, let's go ahead and share that screen and go ahead and spin that wheel of pain and pleasure so you guys can make sure I'm not rug pulling on the giveaways. Here we go. And then we got, I think, 700 likes. Not too bad. All right, let's run it up to 700. I'll spin that wheel 10 times, guys. Let's get it. Let's see. Yo, Around the Blockchain. I just see this on the other screen. Around the Blockchain commented on one of my shorts and said, love it, Uncle Candles. It must be Mr. Nick Demondi, the Paisan, calling me Uncle Candles. I love it. Shout out to Around the Blockchain, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to their channel. They do not go live on BitBoy Crypto anymore. They have their own YouTube channel now, which is pretty cool. Let me pull up the live chat. Guys, I didn't have to use my inhaler today. You believe that? I'm not a nerd anymore. You guys made fun of me so much yesterday that I did a bunch of lung workouts yesterday, and now I have strong lungs that don't need an inhaler. You guys were killing me yesterday. I was cracking up. I was talking to Tony D after the stream yesterday, and we were just cracking up. We were both dying at you guys roasting me for using that inhaler. It's not even mine. It's Mrs. Candles. I just use it if I ever have trouble breathing. I don't even know if I'm supposed to do that. Anyway, I have no hair. Bald is beautiful. Shout out to V-Slim. I used to... I try not to overshare. Maybe I don't need to share all these personal details, but I used to know not a bunch of bald people, but it's funny. Any bald person I ever knew, when they would show me pictures of them with hair, I'd be like, ew, like, dude, you're supposed to be, you look so good bald, man. Like, just, I'm glad you don't have hair. It's really funny. So that's why I always said, if I ever go bald, it's probably because God just wants me to be bald, because I've never met a bald person that doesn't look weird with hair. Every bald person I know, if you ever see him with hair, I'm like, ew, dude, you look way better bald. Like this, just like you're supposed to be there. You're supposed to be bald. It's not yours. Yeah, it's not. It's not. I would prove it. I would prove it. It's actually still sitting here. I would prove it, but I don't want to dox Mrs. Candle's full name. Let's see. Shout out to Ryan. Frank, would you keep your XRP on exchanges with a stop loss set, just in case they were to lose the case? Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I would just make sure that you don't have that stop loss in case you get some kind of FUD that comes out or something. You get wicked out of your position, and then it comes out that they win the case. You don't want to get your bag stolen from you. So I would just be careful. But my buy-in for XRP is low enough where it would have to really, 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 really nuke before I would have to pull the trigger on that. So let's see. Have you seen your hair, Frankie? Chances of you going bald are 0. Shout out to Creighton C. Funny story. When I moved to Georgia, my hair started falling out. And I think it might have been a mixture. Actually, it was when I started the YouTube channel. I think it might have been a mixture of stress and also the shampoo I was using. I was using Head and Shoulders, and it was making my hair fall out, I think. But it's been much better now. But shout out to Creighton C. I appreciate the comment. Rob, you're the man with these videos. Thank you. Oh, God. Yo, what is going on? Dave, you fake asthma? Oh, wait, hang on. Let me see what Dave said to get kicked out of, let me see what Dave said to get kicked out of Crypto Faces chat. That's pretty funny, man. Because I feel like you'd probably have to say some crazy stuff to get kicked out of Faces chat. I'll be honest. Let's see. Dave, I don't know if you already told me. Oh, I think it was accidentally. Have been pretty tame there, and it was months ago. Interesting. I'll try. Next time we have, how about this? Next time Face comes on the show, which is probably going to be pretty soon, I'll ask him live. I'll say, hey, my friend Dave Digital got banned from your chat, I think by accident, and he's really upset about it, and I'll vouch for him. He's a good guy, and we'll get you back in there, bro. We'll get you back in. Don't worry. That's pretty funny. All right, there we go. We spun it 10 times. We got the 700 likes. We got 500 people in here, guys. Don't forget to smash the like button on your way out. I appreciate you guys, as always, from the bottom of my heart for spending your precious time with your boy, Frankie Candles. Well, not to do 2 hours of TA. Well, while Evan did like an hour and a half of TA, and then I did about 20-ish minutes of TA. But I appreciate you all for being here. I hope you guys learned something. And, yeah, I hope you guys learned something, and I hope you found value in the live stream. If you did, hit me with a hashtag value on the way out and smash that like button. And, guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please just hit that subscribe button. It's super free. I won't bother you. I won't notify you. You don't even have to hit the notification bell. I mean, I recommend you do for urgent updates. But if you don't want to, that's fine. Just hit the subscribe button. I noticed there is a big percentage of people that watch, a lot, that are not subscribed. So just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps out the channel, like, infinitely. It's like one of the #1 things you could do other than smash the like button. I actually think the like button might be more helpful. But hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel, guys. We will be doing our giveaways tomorrow, and hopefully we can get a move on Bitcoin here and have an exciting stream tomorrow. I appreciate you all from the bottom of my heart. And with all that being said, guys, shout out to Evan Aldo. Go check out his YouTube channel and subscribe to his channel as well. And with all that being said, that's all the time I got. I'll see you guys here tomorrow. Same place, same time, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right after ATB. Shout out to my boy, Mrs. D. Shout out to my boy, DZ. That's all I got. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Tyler Ramos.
Oh, hey, guys. That was a water bottle, guys. This is hey, what's up, guys? That was I can breathe. I promise I can breathe. But anyway, guys, real quick, let's do some ETH TA because someone asked for it. Someone said ETH TA. Shout out to Nizam Udin. Shout out to you, man. You're getting that ETH TA, bro. Here we go. Taking a look at Ethereum, guys. Here we go. You never know when the Frankie Fakeout's just going to turn into another TA session here. Taking a look at Ethereum, I would kind of hold my same sentiment as yesterday. We drew this line yesterday. I would kind of hold the same sentiment, but I would put a little less emphasis on the big drop down to the previous value area low. I would look for a potential small correction and then a bigger move to the upside. But really, levels remain the same. We are still sitting within our golden box here. If we can get a move out, I would look for a move up to this purple box where I would look for some serious resistance. Before getting a rejection, but again, maybe I would go ahead and readjust this. I would make that line a little bit more realistic or a little bit conservative where you come up and then potentially look for a rejection, maybe back down to the gold box rather than looking for an absolute nuke to the floor. You are getting that 10-hour green dot, so I would look for a potential turnaround in the, let's come down to lower time frames. Yeah, I would look for a turnaround, right? Like 24-minute money flows coming to the upside with the VWAP coming up as well. Taking a look at the 30-minute. Money flow also coming up. This actually does not look too horrible. I'm not going to lie. Money flow looking pretty decent on the 30-minute. Taking the 10-hour green dot into consideration. 8-hour green dot printing as well. That could continue to give you a move to the upside. So I'd look for that 30-minute money flow crossover, as well as that I would look for that 24-minute money flow to curve back to the upside with that next green dot. Could potentially give you a bigger move to the upside. And the thing that would be slightly exciting about this is if you turn on that VPVR and we zoom out a bit, you can see come up to a little bit of a higher time frame. You can see here, come on, bada boom. Let me get rid of this line real quick. You can see once we get above this level, you do have a little bit of a gap up to that purple box, right? If we zoom in a little bit, obviously that will makes it a little harder to see. Yeah, that's basically what I would look for on Ethereum. I would look for a potential move back to the upside, but I would look at this purple box for some resistance. But anyway, guys, that's all the time I got for today's live stream. I just saw that. And someone else, whoever was looking for the heat maps that I will harass tomorrow for the liquidation heat maps, yes. Oh, no, you can't see. Did I not share the screen? Oh, that's trash. All right, I'll show you one. I'll show you one more time. Here we go. We're running late on the stream tonight, guys. But here you go, right? This is what I would be looking for. This was, all right, I'll just undo everything and look for the how this chart originally looked. Okay, back to Ethereum. Here we go. So this is what the line we were looking at yesterday. So I would kind of keep the same sentiment, right? I would look for a potential move to the upside here, but I would chill out with this move to the downside just because of the way money flow looks right now. So I would look for something more like this, right? If we do get a move up, I would look for a potential move up into this purple box. And if we do reject, again, with money flow changing, right? Look at the money flow on the 4-hour. Look at the money flow on the 30-minute, right? 30-minute money flow looking pretty good, right? 24-minute money flow actually looks even better. We came into the green, back into the red, but that VWAP is coming up as well as the money flow. We can get that crossover. I think we could see a potential move up here. But again, I wouldn't expect that big nuke to the floor, right? I would actually look for it to be more like a move like this, where you come up into that purple box, and if you reject, if money flow still looks good, I would actually look to long a higher low rather than short this thing to the floor, right? So that's kind of the only change here. Instead of looking for a nuke to the floor, I may look to long that that higher low, right? So there you go, guys. There's a quick little ETH. You never know what those last-minute requests will get you on that Frankie fake out. And guys, just so you know, that was not an inhaler, guys. That was a water bottle. I know it looked weird. But that was not an inhaler. I swear that inhaler is some strong stuff. Shout out to Helen. But guys, that's all the time I got for tonight's live stream. Thank you for being here. I appreciate every single one of you guys for real. And I'll see you here tomorrow. Same place, same time, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right after ATB. Shout out to my boy DZ. And just for anyone who's unclear, DZ is not Mrs. Candles. I'll see you tomorrow. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Tyler Ramos.
Well, anyway, guys, I can't, guys. But for real, I am doing a giveaway on my Instagram. I forgot to mention this earlier. I'm doing a giveaway on my Instagram, guys. We're giving away $100 in Cardano. Tony D, drop the details. You have to tag 2 people. Tony D, drop the details in the chat, guys. Go check out my Instagram and enter our giveaway. Win $100 in Cardano. We're also going to be giving away tons of stuff tomorrow. Did you see that, guys? I don't know what that was. Anyway, guys, that's really all I got. I got to go. Hasta pasta. I love you all. Bing bong.